Get ready, Staten Island. It's time to celebrate 5 years of Ferry Hawks baseball. Join us Friday, April 24th through Sunday, April 26th for our first homestand of the season and our 5th anniversary celebration. Score big with $5 tickets. Grab $5 domestic draft beers. Enjoy $5 popcorn. And yes, 2 Nathan's hot dogs for just $5. Visit ferryhawks.com now to lock in your seats.
LinkedIn is pretty amazing at helping you grow your small business. We cannot stop your new clients from emailing you at 3 a.m. We can help you sell, market, and hire in one place. We cannot help you be in 3 places at once. And while we can't help you organize your calendar, LinkedIn can help you land more clients so you have a calendar to organize. Grow your small business on LinkedIn. Learn more at linkedin.com/smallbusiness.
Sid and Friends in the morning.
Entertaining and informative.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
I'm sorry, Sid. Hi.
Oh, God, don't be sorry. You kidding me?
No, I'm wrapped up in these meetings on peace. And I said, it's between peace and Sid Rosenberg. And I said, let's take Rosenberg, okay? So.
The guy that has to shoulder the majority of the blame for the collapse in the fourth quarter is New York Mets owner Steve Cohen. Get your unlucky ass out of my building, Steve Cohen. You've lost 11 consecutive games with the New York Mets. We don't want your bad juju in our building.
Is it a rule that he has to wear a Mets hat everywhere he goes?
He wants everybody to know who he is. Meanwhile, he's the most hated guy in New York right now.
Just sit courtside. You're rich, but why do you have to wear that?
Yeah, a reminder that I'm a billionaire that owns the New York Mets. You lost 11 consecutive games. You douche knuckle. Get out of my building. All you do is bring bad luck everywhere you go from a sports perspective. Yep. Maybe you should bring the mayor here to hug Jalen Brunson before Game 5, you knucklehead.
Breaking news involving the U.S. and Iran and major questions now about what's happened to this second round of talks. Vice President JD Vance had been ready to leave Washington today for Pakistan. He hasn't left. Iran refusing to commit. President Trump, after making multiple threats, now says he will extend the ceasefire. All of this comes amid dramatic new images showing U.S. troops boarding a tanker believed to be linked to Iran. U.S. helicopters dropping troops onto the deck of the ship. This is the second ship seized by the U.S. Navy in a matter of days, Iran demanding that the U.S. lift its blockade of Iranian ports. And the new poll just in on the war in Iran, just 26% of Americans say it's been worth the cost. Mary Bruce leading us off.
24 hours after President Trump said it was, quote, highly unlikely he would extend the ceasefire with Iran, he is doing just that. Calling the Iranian leadership seriously fractured, Trump announcing he will extend the ceasefire until such time as their proposal is submitted and discussions are concluded, one way or the other. The president did not provide a concrete timeline for how long the new ceasefire would last. Trump's reversal comes after Iran refused to resume negotiations until the U.S. ends its blockade of Iranian ports. The U.S. military has turned away 28 ships from Iran and seized an Iranian cargo ship, opening fire on the vessel, Marines rappelling down to the deck. Overnight, American troops filing onto helicopters and flying out to board an oil tanker believed to be part of Iran's dark fleet of illicit shipping vessels. Iran's foreign minister calling the blockade an act of war and thus a violation of the ceasefire, adding Iran knows how to resist bullying. The White House has been eager to jumpstart negotiations. Vice President JD Vance was preparing to fly to Islamabad, Trump sounding confident Iran would send its own negotiators.
They'll be sending them. They have no choice but to send them.
Even threatening to resume attacks if there was not real headway on a deal.
Well, I expect to be bombing because I think that's a better attitude to go in with, but we're ready to go. I mean, the military is raring to go.
But Iran refused to budge, insisting Trump lift the naval blockade, saying only then will the next round of negotiations be held. The president still not ready to do that, saying he has directed our military to continue the blockade and in all other respects remain ready and able. Here at home, the war deeply unpopular. A new Reuters Ipsos poll shows just 26% of Americans say U.S. military action in Iran has been worth its costs. And a record 62% disapprove of the job President Trump is doing. David, Vice President Vance was ready to fly to Islamabad for negotiations, but he remains here in Washington. There are no talks on the books, and after threatening for days to resume attacks on Iran, President Trump has now extended the ceasefire with no end in sight.
Fake smile. Racist Iran. Racist.
Every day, the NYPD detectives and cops across the city and state are being harassed, followed, filmed, doxxed, targeted by social media agitators looking to go viral. And it's putting lives at risk. Mayor Mamdani, you have the luxury of not dealing with these dangerous agitators. You've got a wall of blue around you 24/7, detectives protecting you, creating the very buffer zone we're fighting for to protect our protectors. Those same detectives are out on the street with cameras shoved in their faces, being followed, interfered with, and harassed while trying to protect New Yorkers. Mr. Mayor, you're New Yorkers. That's the reality on the ground every single day. And it needs to end. This isn't about politics. It's about safety. It's not about the far left. It's not about the right. You've stood with other unions, the doormen, the nurses. Now we're asking you to stand with us. The men and women that wear the uniform. We brought this to your doorsteps. We made it easy for you. Stand with the New York State Public Safety Alliance on April 23rd. Help us pass legislation to stop harassment and create a real buffer zone for the hardworking men and women who keep your New York City safe, that keep New York State safe. Because if you don't protect the cops, you won't have cops, and public safety will disappear. Enough is enough. It's time to leave.
And you are now being blamed for the Mets' 11-game losing streak, claiming that you put a curse on them when you hugged Mr. Met. So I wonder how you feel about being blamed for the Mets' failure to perform, and also if there's anything you can do to relieve the curse that has now been put on the team.
Yes. I'll first say that there's a lot of baseball left to be played, and I am still keeping the faith, as I know that many Mets fans are across the city, though I will accept being addressed as Mayor Mambino for the day.
The New York Mets have lost 11 straight games since Mayor Mamdani hugged the team's mascot, Mr. and Mrs. Met. You, Brian, I believe, are a lifelong Mets fan.
Yes.
So do you blame Mamdani for the losing streak?
Yes, absolutely. It's definitely, I mean, you're talking about a team that got off to a decent start, and then he shows up, and it turns out that Mr. Met, who blew off the WABC's Sid Rosenberg, literally went up to, and Mr. Met walked away from him, and Mr. Met, next thing you know, he's hugging the mayor, and the mayor, since that time, the Mets have lost 11 in a row overall, 10 in a row since the hug. How else do you explain it? I mean, do you fire the manager, or do you fire Mr. and Mrs. Met, or do you just make sure this mayor's a one-term mayor? It just brings bad karma to a team that's coming off one of the biggest collapses in history last year. So I'm telling you, I can't prove it, but I think it has all to do with the hug. Plus, Mr. Met has no neck, and we've just accepted that.
Just to expand on this hug, I'm not quite sure I understand it. The mascot snubbed, who's it, the owner, Feinberg, from the Mets?
Steve Cohen. No. Steve Cohen's the owner of the Mets, but Sid Rosenberg is the #1 personality in New York City. And he went to say hello to Mr. Met, and he walked away from him. Mainly because he believes that Mr. Met, through those eyes and through that mascot, saw that Sid is very anti-mayor. And they have a shortstop who has a wife that worked for the mayor. And people are wondering if there's somewhat of a divide in the Met locker room between conservatives, who many of which got traded off the team, and liberals or pro-Mamdani, like the shortstop who's on their team. So has politics, along with Mr. and Mrs. Met, helped to take down this once proud franchise?
1-2 coming. And Taylor now tips it for strike 3. And the Mets' losing streak has reached an even dozen for the first time since 2002. The beleaguered Twins bullpen goes 12 up and 12 down, and the Twins come from 3 runs down to beat the Mets 5-3.
Really is the same old situation. You know, you can really make that case, same old situation, here on this Wednesday morning for everything in that open. You have no idea, Lou Rapino, what a genius you are. But you can make the argument it's the same old situation for everything in that open. Right, let's start with Sott Munro. You heard from Sott Munro, happens to be the president of the DEA, Detectives Endowment Association. Right, he was on this show just last week. He, along with Donna Lisi from the Retired Detectives, just honored me and Bo Dietl and Paul Morrow at Russo's on the Bay in Howard Beach a couple of weeks ago. And he's furious. He says, listen, the mayor actually made sure that what do you call that when, like, construction workers start whistling at beautiful women? Cat calls?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't do that in the city anymore. You can't do it. But you can call a cop or a detective walking by a dirty pig, and no one's going to say a word about it. So Monroe was like, hold on a second here. What about harassing our detectives? What about harassing our cops? And he keeps begging and pleading this anti-cop mayor to, write up some legislation, do something. If you're going to eliminate catcalls in New York City, how about eliminating harassing police? Good luck, Scotty. I love you like a brother. You're great. But with this mayor, good luck with that one. He said, look, the mayor was out there for the nurses, which he was. The mayor was out there for the doormen, which he was. He's not going to be out there for the cops. So there's going to be a rally coming up tomorrow on the steps of City Hall, a rally for pro-cops, pro-detectives, pro-DEA. I think it starts at 2:30. Do you know, Noam?
I have it here somewhere. I can find it for you.
Yeah, just get the exact time. But it will be at City Hall tomorrow. So that is the same old, right? You expect that Mamdani will do nothing to help and or protect our cops. Same old situation.
It's 12:30 on the City Hall steps.
12:30, thank you. Now we move to Iran. And once again, President Trump extends the ceasefire. Now, I love President Trump. We've been over this a million times, okay? I love him. I support him on just about everything he does. Just about everything. And I've been pro-Iran war from the start. But if I'm going to be honest with my audience, and I always am, this one, like I said yesterday, is starting to get to the Nancy Guthrie stage. You remember how we couldn't stop watching all the coverage of Nancy Guthrie? I spent one weekend, I swear to God, I think I watched Fox News for about 72 straight hours. I'm not exaggerating. 72 straight hours. I didn't sleep because I was so captivated by the Nancy Guthrie disappearance. And then they party like animals for Independence Day. So yesterday was Memorial Day, but today is Independence Day. Started last night. Now, don't forget, it's already 1:30 in the afternoon in Israel. So they've been partying for quite some time. So I see a tweet this morning, and for some reason this one really annoyed me. I don't know why. But the tweet, Noam Laden, comes compliment of Eric Adams, the former mayor. And here's what he says. Wishing all my fellow New Yorkers celebrating Yom Ha'atzmaut a very happy Independence Day. He actually wrote Yom Ha'atzmaut. And you know that Eric Adams didn't write that. He could barely spell Independence Day, let alone Yom Ha'atzmaut. What do you think, Noam? You think he wrote that?
He may have had help with that.
You think so?
Yeah.
He goes, New York is home to the largest Jewish population outside of Israel, and the bond between our city and the people of Israel is deep, enduring, and personal. It lives in our neighborhoods, our families, our culture, and our shared values. Today is a celebration of resilience, of history, and of the unbreakable spirit of a people who built a nation against all odds. And here in New York, that story is felt every single day. You're right, it is. It's felt in pro-Hamas rallies, which you allowed to go on, didn't try to stop them. How many times did I pepper Eric Adams on this show? We were still talking back then about having these rallies, and he said, Sid, we believe in the First Amendment in this city. How many times? I said, First Amendment, they're carrying signs that glorify October the 7th. How is that a First Amendment right? Hey, First Amendment. Remember all that?
I do, but let me ask you this question. Seeing what you got now, would you rather have him as your mayor?
Oh, I mean, there's no question I'd rather have him. But, you know, the pandering, there's negative pandering, which, you know, white Jews do and Democrats do. You know, and this is negative pandering, too. I mean, Yom Ha'atzmaut, Eric Adams.
You know what he did? I don't know this for
Did he
sure.
get a job with some Israeli bank or something?
I think he copy and pasted probably last year's message
Maybe
when he was
he
mayor,
did.
and then he just put it in the Twitter.
But he's not the mayor anymore.
No.
And I understand, look, you want to show up at the Israeli Day Parade, great. If something like in Scarsdale last night, there was an anti-Semitic issue, you want to post about that, great. As the former mayor and somebody that for some reason the Jewish people sucked up to. You remember that. I kept telling them, stop it. They didn't listen to me. They finally came to their senses. But to actually post about Yom Ha'atzmaut, who's he kidding? Come on. That'd be like me posting St. Joseph's Day or, you know, one of these Christian holidays that Jews don't know about. Like we know about Christmas, we know about Easter, we know about Good Friday, but we're not out there talking about all the Christian holidays. And I just found Eric Adams' tweet. I know he's trying to be nice and tries to convince everybody every day that he loves the Jews. But I'll say it again. For about 18 months, he was nowhere to be found. Nowhere. During the most difficult and scary time in this city. During the most difficult and scary time in this city, you couldn't find the mayor. Couldn't find him. And then when all the heat kind of stopped and we were past all the big threats and big rallies, he started popping up, remember? There he was at the Israeli Independence Day Parade and making speeches. So I don't want to kill the guy because his heart, I guess, is in the right place or his mind is in the right place. I guess he's still trying to garner votes for something. It just didn't make sense to me that Eric Adams would be talking about Yom Ha'atzmaut.
Yeah.
Right? It's a bit of a stretch, don't you think?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, so I'm not crazy. What else is going on in the city that's happening today?
Let's see what's going on in the city. Not a whole lot of big local stories to tell you about. I mean, there was this near miss, and we've been seeing a lot of these lately. At Kennedy on Monday, we just found out about it late yesterday. These two planes came within 400 feet of each other as they were landing at JFK on Monday afternoon. I mean, that's awfully close. And the radio call is pretty good. I mean, they're not frantic, but they had one plane had to roughly drop about 600 feet in mere seconds, while another plane had to shoot up nearly 1,000 feet to avoid each other as they were landing. So that could have been a disaster.
Ooh, wow.
Yeah. And then nationally, you had Kash Patel again holding a press conference yesterday to say that he's not an alcoholic.
Yeah, this is where he made a big mistake. Even the Fox News people were saying the same thing. No press conferences, no lawsuits. He never should have sued the Atlantic. Just come out, make a statement. You know, all they do now, these liberal channels, MS Now, for example, that garbage, all they did yesterday was talk about Kash Patel. And the problem for Kash, who I like a lot, right, great Republican, runs the FBI. A lot of people think he's in over his head. I know former FBI guys that think it's a joke that he runs that agency. That's fine. That's all fine. But when you sue the Athletic, now you've given the Athletic and the liberals the power to go after you. And the truth is, there are some videos and instances that are not great for Kash Patel. They're not. I'm not even talking about drinking with the Olympic hockey team when we won the gold. That's the least of it. So when you file a lawsuit, now they're saying, oh, really? Take a look at this. Take a look at that. So Kash Patel literally has allowed these people to shine the spotlight on his personal life. And if we're going to be honest, whether you like Kash or not a great idea. So, silly, make a statement and move on. Press conferences, lawsuits, all that does is give more ammunition to the other side for them to find out more about you, which they do, and you look worse. Does that make sense?
Yeah, they have a lot of sources they claim to The Atlantic. They say, we have, go ahead, sue us. You're not going to win. He's, suing them for defamation. They say, okay, well, you're not going to win this case. Go for it. They're not backing down from the story that they have that he's been drunk on the job.
Is that what they're saying? Drunk?
Yeah.
And like during the daytime?
Yeah, well, I'm sure these are probably people that are insiders that have worked for the FBI forever that hated him from the moment he showed up, say he never should have had the gig.
Right.
But if it's legit and it's true story, none of that looks pretty.
All right, anything else?
And then, this is just a tragic story, but just an awful story out of the Bronx yesterday. This woman, 72-year-old, she's sitting on a bench. It was a beautiful afternoon yesterday, like high 50s, just sunning herself. All of a sudden, this car jumps the curb and runs her over. She was killed. 72-year-old died on the spot. And now they're saying...
Very similar to the Ava Conklin story, Lewis and our neighborhood. Of course, Ava was only 19 years old. They've actually renamed that street, 108th Street in Rockaway, Ava Conklin Boulevard. Her father, Matt, wonderful guy, or Aunt Colleen. But same story, much younger, but tragic nevertheless for the older lady. But she was sitting at a bus stop, and some young kid lost control of his car, jumped the curb, and killed her.
Yeah, well, that was when in that case was the person drunk behind the wheel? I
No,
don't remember.
no,
just okay. It was
just reckless.
Well, this one, they think the guy had a medical episode behind the wheel, and that's why he lost control of the car. Yeah, and then one more, the LIRR, the engineers and trainmen. This would be a big deal. LIRR is the largest commuter train line in the country. That's how many thousands of people rely on every day. And now they are saying, as of yesterday, the engineers and trainmen, they're ready to walk off the job. They're working on this new deal, and they say the MTA has not spoken with them. And so yesterday they were speaking out saying, hey, this is going to happen. It's just a couple weeks away, the strike deadline. So we'll see if that actually happens or if it's just a ploy to get the MTA to the bargaining table. But they're asking, one of the things they want to grant engineers extra pay when they operate more than one type of train. So if they switch between a diesel and an electric train during their same shift, they want extra pay for that. And the MTA says, no, that's bogus. It's part of your job. They also want more money. So we'll see what
Is that
happens.
part of their job?
What, if you switch from one train to the other? Yeah, but they say they should get extra pay for that. And the MTA says, no, that's when you're on job, you're on the job.
Well, I may as well ask. I want extra pay for everything.
Yeah.
What American doesn't, right?
Yeah.
Pay us extra.
All right. Oh, one more, actually. This is an interesting one out of Long Island. Stony Brook researchers yesterday holding this press conference all of a sudden to say that there is flesh-eating bacteria in a bunch of bodies of water across Long Island. And they say that the locals are not responding quick enough to this. It has something to do with nitrogen runoff that's entering Long Island's waterways. And so they're warning people who are compromised health-wise to maybe stay out of the water for the summer because they're worried they could be killed within a short period of time by this flesh-eating bacteria. Yeah.
Boy, I can tell you, the water in New York between flesh-eating bacteria and the shark issue the last couple of years between Long Island and Rockaway, you literally are taking your life into your own hands jumping in the ocean this summer. You got to go to the Jersey Shore, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, last summer there were numerous times where they told people not to go in the water. The health department will issue these warnings. And so this group out of Stony Brook is saying, hey, if they issue the warning, even if they don't issue a warning, some people should stay out of the water all summer long.
Well, we're going to talk to the two-time Nassau County executive and, of course, our enthusiastic choice to be the next governor here in New York. Our dear friend Bruce Blakeman is stopping by today. He'll be here in the 9 o'clock hour, and we'll ask Bruce about the water. Is it Nassau County, right? Or
no, it's mostly Suffolk County.
Oh, mostly Suffolk. Okay. So that's Ed Romaine's job.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll get Ed Romaine on. I don't know. All right, we got a big show coming up. You heard me mention Bruce Blakeman, Rich Lowry. He's going to stop by today, the editor of the National Review. He's also on Brian Kilmeade's radio show and Fox News this morning. So a big media day coming up for Rich Lowry, who joins us every Wednesday. Also every Wednesday, we talk to the former great congressman. Great everything, really. Think about it, Homeland Security, all the money he's helped raise for 9/11 victims' families over the years. Our dear friend Peter King, he's going to be here. And a big one, folks, a big one. A lot of you listening right now loved his father, and certainly me and Lou, the great Lou Ruffino, have a long history with his father. That would be Don Imus. His son, Wyatt Imus, now, believe it or not, 27 years old. Wyatt Imus, first ever appearance on Sid Friends in the morning. That's coming up at 8:30. You got to love it. All these people online are like, and like these message boards, they go, and why is Sid bringing on Wyatt? All Sid does is bash Imus. Guys, that is not even close to being true. Time and time again, which has annoyed Lou and Bernard over the years on this show, I've actually said that no one has influenced me more in my career than Imus. Time and time again, you've even said, Noam, that you listen every couple of mornings, every week, and go, oh, my God, you sound like Imus.
Yeah, it sends like a chill down my spine when you do.
I'm sure it does to Lou, too. But the idea that all I do is bash him is 1,000% wrong.
That's inaccurate.
Totally inaccurate. Yeah. That's what Bernard did.
Yeah, Bernard couldn't wait.
Oh, yeah, Bernard hated his guts. I never did. Have I been critical? Sure. I had a lot of bad moments with Don, a lot of bad moments, a lot. But I would say over the last couple of years, especially since he died, I have been positive more than negative about the I-Man. Would you agree with that?
Yeah,
Noel?
I think that's accurate.
Yeah. Well, it doesn't matter. See, it doesn't matter whether you're accurate. Like this putz on the New York message board, which nobody reads, I know, but I do read it. This dentist, Alan Sniffen, he goes, Sid, he should really be nicer to Imus because he would not be back in New York if not for Imus. Now, how many times have I told this story that God rest his soul, Imus did not want me back in New York. Alan Snippen, you dumb bastard, stop lying on that board and writing that. It's not true. Imus wanted Mike Lupica. So did a lot of other people. Craig Schwab wanted Mike Lupica. Mike McVeigh wanted Mike Lupica. Dave Milner wanted Mike Lupica. But then I had my team. Bernie McGurk wanted me. Pete Morgan wanted me. Joe Vitale wanted me. Curtis Sliwa. He's now a sellout backstabber, but he wanted me. And most of all, Chad Lopez wanted me. It was not Imus. Imus didn't want me. But when I got back to New York, he was reminded very, very quickly, damn, Sid is good. So he made up a whole bubba-mindser, a whole story about Warner Wolf just to blow him out to get me back on the air. You know that. This whole nonsense. Well, if he was here and if he did this and did that, all nonsense. As soon as he heard me, he said, I got to get this guy back on the show. And he did. But don't tell me what happened with me and Imus, Alan, or anybody else in this town. He did not want me back. He didn't. But that's okay. I didn't hold it against him, obviously. And like I said, I spend most of my days the last couple of years being complimentary towards Imus than negative. Doesn't matter. You're still going to write what you want all over the internet. But I don't hate the guy. Not even close. I give him a lot of credit for where I am today. So hearing from Deirdre, talking to Wyatt, and putting Wyatt on today, I'm all too happy to do it. So that's what you got, folks, on this Wednesday morning. Big edition of Sid and Friends in the morning. Louie got the smile going. Nomi got the chuckle going. We'll have some fun today for you, folks. Wednesday, Sid and Friends in the morning.
Sid and Friends in the morning on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
I love this song. What a great song. I was actually saddened to hear this morning. I was in the bathroom. I was actually urinating. I know all the details and listening to that great show that Noam puts on every morning right before us.
Noam was asking me what you were doing.
Yeah, I was in the bathroom. Between 5 and 6 every morning. It is a great show. Great show. Noam gets everything you need to know. Local, around the country, around the world, 5 to 6. The News Hour with Noam Layden. and I heard that Dave Mason had died, and I love that song. I love him. He's got about 4 or 5 songs that I really enjoy, but I had to hear that one. That one really hit me hard, no. Yeah, I bet you had no idea that when you did that story that I'd be that upset.
No, and I was actually more concerned that you washed your hands afterwards.
I never do.
Oh.
No, never.
Only when I make duty, not pee-pee.
No, doesn't close the door, doesn't wash his hands.
Yeah, you don't wash your hands after you pee.
By the
duty
way,
is one thing, but not pee-pee.
And you don't close the door.
No, I never close the door.
No, which is like I've had a moment where I'm like, oh, okay.
You know, the first time...
Or flush sometimes.
Yeah, right. The first time my wife, my beautiful wife Danielle, her mother, it's a tragic story, was killed in a car crash. Danielle was only 8 years old. So Danielle's mom, Carol, who was killed, her mother, Florence, who we called Nana, she actually raised Danielle. And Florence's husband, who Danielle referred to as Poppy, Martin Noodleman. So she was raised by her grandparents, 2 wonderful people. And they did a great job, obviously. So I remember they lived in Brooklyn on East 14th Street and Avenue N. East 14th and N. We used to go to this Italian restaurant all the time, Magluillo's. It was right there. Who knew? A long story short, the first time that Nana invited me for dinner, or Danielle invited me for dinner at Nana's apartment, I went, and Danielle and I were dating just a little bit, you know. And her grandmother at that point was in her 70s. Nana lived till she was 97 years old. And we lost her. God, she must have died over 10 years ago. I'm not exactly sure when, but I can tell you this. The first time we have dinner, she lives in an apartment on Avenue 1. It's not a big, palatial house. It's an apartment. And I excuse myself on the dinner table, and I go to make pee-pee, And I do what I do here. The door's wide open, and I'm making, and I can hear.
You did that at home?
First time I met her grandmother, in essence her mother, and I can hear her grandmother go, is he in the bathroom? I hear, and the door is open. So I come out, and they're both kind of smiling, and although Nana thought it was grotesque. So Nana got up to do something in the kitchen. Danielle said, Sid, what are you doing? You got to close the door. You don't even... My grandmother's not like that. She's an elegant, classy lady. You never met her. You're in an apartment for the first time. You got to close the door when you use the bathroom.
Who does that?
Yeah.
You're the only one that does.
Well, my family, we never shut the door. Nobody shuts the door in my family. The Rosenbergs aren't like that. The door's wide open.
What? I don't understand that.
I don't know. That's just the way we were. We would have these Christmas parties. We'd have 300 people in our house in Brooklyn. My sisters would be sitting there on the toilet making, and the doors would be wide open. Strangers in the house in Brooklyn there to party, and they'd walk by the bathroom, and there's Ray Sherry on the toilet. So.
Yeah, you realize that's odd and strange and bizarre.
That is
and wrong.
Yeah, but that's the least thing that's odd about my family, to be honest. I got a lot bigger stuff than that, but yeah, it's kind of odd. But that's what I do. So whether it's Nana's apartment or here at the office.
Okay. Well, now it explains a little bit more, but my God, that is insane. That's really insane.
You think I don't know that?
I mean, my grandmother would do that sometimes when she'd stay at my family's house.
She would do that.
Yeah, but she was getting old and doesn't care anymore.
Right.
Like, you just walk up the stairs, there's my grandmother sitting on the bowl.
I got news for you.
Okay,
I'm getting old, and I don't care anymore either. So I'm not all that different from your grandmother.
No, that's crystal clear to me. Oh, my God. What the heck?
Yeah, so Dave Mason's dead, and I pee with the door open. How can I tell you?
Imagine. Sure, he's happy to be acquainted with that.
Yeah, what a tribute.
2 major stories. Breaking major news here on Sid and Friends in the morning. We'll take a quick break.
Sid pays a heartfelt tribute to Dave Mason this morning.
Yeah, well, nobody does it like us.
And gets his bathroom issues out on the air.
Yeah. Bruce Blakeman, Peter King, Mitch Lowry, Wyatt Imus, just to name a few. Big Wednesday. We'll be right back.
This is
Sid on Sports.
Sponsored by Peerless Boilers on 77 WABC.
Justin Ellick here with your sports update, sponsored by Pete Morgan and Peerless Boilers. Go to peerlessboilers.com to find a dealer near you. Peerless Spoilers, the world's best-built bowlers start out in Boston. Giancarlo Stanton hit a solo homer in the second, added a 2-run double as the Yankees extended their winning streak to 4 with a 4-0 win over the Boston Red Sox in the opener of a 3-game set. Stanton, who sat out a 7-0 win over Kansas City on Sunday after going 0 for 9 in his previous 2 games, drove in the first 3 for New York and gave starter Luis Gil all the offense he needed against the struggling Sox. Gil picked up his first win of the season, holding Boston to just 2 hits and 6 1/3 as the Yankees out-hit the Red Sox 10-4 and cruised to their major league leading 5th shutout of the season. Cody Bellinger extended his hitting streak to 9 straight with a single in the 8th and scored on Randall Grichuk's double to center. Ben Rice, who had homered in 4 straight games, he comes back down to earth. He goes 0 for 4 with 4 strikeouts. Up next for the Yankees, the ace, Max Fried, will get the start for Game 2 of 3, tonight from Boston. First pitch is scheduled for 6:45 p.m. once again. In Queens, the Mets lost their 12th consecutive game. The curse of Sid Rosenberg lives on, falling 5-3 to the Minnesota Twins in the opener of a 3-game set. New York skid is their longest since they dropped 12 straight from August 10th to the 23rd in 2002. No team has made the playoffs after a season in which it has lost 12 in a row. Closer Devin Williams blew in the 9th, failing to retire any of the 5 batters he faced before being booed off the mound. Williams has allowed 7 runs while recording 4 outs in his last 3 appearances. The Mets were in position to end their streak when Nolan McLean retired the first 15 Twins batters, and Francisco Lindor hit a 3-run homer in the 3rd to give the Mets their biggest lead since April 5th, and they just couldn't hold on. Up next for him, Clay Holmes is set to start for tonight's middle game of this 3-game series. First pitch scheduled for 7:10 p.m. from Citi Field. Quick check-in on playoff basketball in the NBA. Your final from Boston yesterday, Sixers beating the Celtics 111-97. That series now knotted at a game apiece. Out in San Antonio, the Trailblazers beat the Spurs 106-103. So that series also knotted at a game apiece. And out in Los Angeles, the Lakers jumping out to a 2-0 series lead over the Rockets with a 101-94 win last night. And of course, locally here, we're looking ahead to tomorrow night. The Knicks picking up their first-round playoff series against the Hawks. That series will move to Atlanta for tomorrow night's contest. That is your sports sponsored by Pete Morgan at Peerless Spoilers. Go to peerlessspoilers.com to find a deal near you. Peerless Spoilers, the world's best built spoilers. I'm Justin Ellick on 77 WABC.
Sid and Friends in the morning on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
1-2 coming. And Taylor foul tips it for strike 3. And the Mets losing streak has reached an even dozen for the first time since 2002. The beleaguered Twins bullpen goes 12 up and 12 down, and the Twins come from 3 runs down to beat the Mets 5-3.
Peter Frampton, the great Lou Ruffino, telling me today that the great Peter Frampton celebrating a birthday today, and if I had to guess, I'm going to go with Pete is 75.
Wow, you are so close.
How old is he?
You're so warm. 76.
76. Listen. Almost every artist, and we do this every day. Lou does a great job, and people love it. Bill O'Reilly, who just did his morning report, he loves it when we shout out birthdays of all these great bands and singers and songwriters, and they're all in their 70s and 80s.
Yeah.
You know, that's it.
Yeah, well, that whole generation is
well, that's what we play.
Easily over 70s.
Yeah, we're not playing rap on this show. We're not playing the new artists on this show. I just turned 59 on Sunday. You're in your 60s. Noam is right there. So the music that we like, everybody we like, is 70 to 85.
Right. It's playing on the 17th hole.
Yeah, pretty much. And that was Gary Cohen on the call. You know, the Mets, if you didn't watch the game last night, you found out they lost 5-3. They did actually enjoy a very early 3-0 lead. Francisco Lindor hit a monster 3-run home run, gave the Mets the early 3-0 lead, and Minnesota clawed back. They got 2, they got 1. So Devin Williams did not blow the save in the 9th inning. He lost the game because the Twins entered the 9th inning in a 3-3 tie. Game was tied. Again, the Mets led 3-0. The Twins got 2 in the 6th, 1 in the 7th, or 8th, whatever it was. So it's 3-3 in the 9th, and here comes $51 million closer Devin Williams. Remember, the Mets let Edwin Diaz go. Now, look. I don't know if Edwin Diaz would have stayed if they would have paid him. I don't know. You know, again, we keep hearing reports of a very tumultuous clubhouse and locker room last year, and the Mets stunk. And Edwin Diaz had a chance to go to the team that has won 2 straight World Series. And by the way, right now, already has the best record in Major League Baseball. Well on their way to their 3rd straight World Series win, and that's the Los Angeles Dodgers. So I'm not killing the Mets for losing Diaz. He may have left. But he's out for a long time now. He's injured, and he's getting surgery, and he's going to be out for a couple of months is what I heard, Edwin Diaz.
Oh.
The only Met that we, 2 Mets left us, they're doing well. The Nimmo trade, Nimmo's hitting the ball well in Texas. Jeff McNeil doing okay in Oakland. Alonso has been miserable in Baltimore, and Diaz is now hurt for an extended period of time. Doesn't mean they wouldn't be healthy and performing here, but the truth is these guys haven't gone elsewhere and set the world on fire, and they did not set the world on fire here last year. Okay, so with all the bitching about the players, which I do plenty of that left, they're not exactly in the early MVP voting in their new homes.
Well, the argument about Alonso is, like Joe said the other day, you want to keep your homegrown
Yeah,
guy
I get
here.
it. I get it.
Isn't he? He's the all-time leader.
Yes,
in
home runs. Yes.
So
No, I wanted to keep him.
Sucks.
No, I wanted to keep him. And Polanco, the guy they got to replace him, he's out. He's injured. So you can't make it up. So Devin Williams comes in. They give him $51 million. The same Devin Williams that last year the Yankees acquired to be their closer, and he lost that job. He was demoted relatively quickly because he was awful. And he admitted that, talking about Pete Alonso, ironically, when he was on the Brewers, Devin Williams, a couple of years ago, and one of the best closers in baseball, unhittable. You may remember he gave up a home run in the playoffs to Pete Alonso. That lifted the Mets past Milwaukee in that playoff series. And Devin admitted he has never been the same. He admitted it. Never been the same since Alonso hit the home run. That's what he blamed last year's lousy season with the Yankees on. Okay, fine. Now it's a new year. Now it's 2 years later. Now it's another team, another $51 million, and this son of a bitch can't get anybody out. Anybody. He's had 3 horrendous appearances in a row. 3. So he gives up the 2 runs in the 9th, and the next thing you know, the streak is 12. So, for the second time today, which I promised you earlier, I'm going to do it again. I told you in the first segment that somebody at the Pentagon sent me something yesterday. I did not reveal that person. We'll do the same thing right now. Somebody called me yesterday and said, Steve Cohen wants to talk to you. And he's upset. He's not mad at me. As far as I know, he may be, but this person conveyed to me that Cohen realizes and understands the power of my voice in this city, which he should, and he wants to talk to me. Well, he didn't reach out to me yesterday. Maybe he will today. I don't know. But it was conveyed to me that Steve Cohen is upset and does want to talk to me. And I'd love to talk to Steve. Even though at this point, Fred Wilpon was really disliked by the time he sold the Mets, which is unfair because I can tell you Fred Wilpon is one of the nicest men, great owner. Look, they had their financial issues. He got in bed with Bernie Madoff. We know what happened there. But Fred Wilpon was a great, great owner for a long time and a terrific guy. And he loved the Mets. He really did. His son, Jeff, completely different story. When I was at the Fan, we had the Mets. Almost everybody liked Freddie. Nobody liked Jeff. Sorry. Then I told you when I got let go or resigned, whatever it was, back in 2005, that the second phone call I received to make sure I was okay after Jim Nance was Fred Wilpon. And Freddie was a good guy. I like Freddie. And I'm hearing that Steve Cohen's a really good guy. I don't know him. I met him twice. A handshake with Bill O'Reilly in the dining room at Citi Field. That's all I know about Steve Cohen. But he is becoming really disliked in this city because nobody cares about your personality. Nobody cares how rich you are. Nobody cares about casinos. These psychotic sports fans, all they want to see is a winner. And after an improbable, amazing run by the Mets in the second half 2 years ago, the Mets have been awful since. Now a year and 20-plus games into this season. So Cohen, because he's rich, gets to sit courtside at Knick playoff games, sitting right there with John McEnroe and Spike Lee. Used to be Howard Stern. I don't even know. I guess Ben Stiller and his wife, bunch of famous people. And he's sitting there at the Knick game wearing his Met hat. And the Knicks blow a lead and lose Game 2 to the Hawks. Now, Cohen was not there for Game 1, and the Knicks made easy work of the Hawks. But he was there in Game 2. They suffered a fourth-quarter collapse, and they lost the game. That was the motivation, the inspiration behind my dear friend Craig Carton's little Instagram video yesterday, taking all his frustrations out on the Met owner. Now, he keeps saying 11-game losing streak. This was yesterday morning. The Mets are now at a 12-game losing streak. But you'll get the idea about the wrath that Met owner Steve Cohen is facing all over town. Craig Carton, Lewis, cut number 1.
The guy that has to shoulder the majority of the blame for the collapse in the fourth quarter is New York Mets owner Steve Cohen. Get your unlucky ass out of my building, Steve Cohen. You've lost 11 consecutive games with the New York Mets. We don't want your bad juju in our building.
Is it a rule that he has to wear a Mets hat everywhere he goes?
He wants everybody to know who he is. Meanwhile, he's the most hated guy in New York right now.
Just sit, listen, sit courtside. You're rich, but why do you have to wear the hat?
A reminder that I'm a billionaire that owns the New York Mets. You lost 11 consecutive games. You douche knuckle. Get out of my building. All you do is bring bad luck everywhere you go from a sports perspective. Yeah. Maybe you should bring the mayor here to hug Jalen Brunson before Game 5, you knucklehead.
I like that. Craig Carton, that was funny. And he's not a terrible guy, Steve Cohen. But I got to tell you, you know what's going bad when the Minnesota Twins, now they're not a good baseball team. They've been bad the last couple of years, and they traded away just about everybody before the start of the year. Yet Minnesota, through 23 games this season, is playing better than 500 baseball. They're now 12-11. 12-11. The Mets have the least amount of wins in Major League Baseball. That's right. Even Kansas City and Colorado have won more games than the Mets. Still stuck on 7. They've been there since April the 9th. And when the opposing team makes fun of you on Twitter the night you lose, that's embarrassing with a capital E. So Noam and Lou and Justin, don't know if you saw this, but the Minnesota Twin baseball team actually tweeted last night after beating the Mets, things you can get in a dozen: eggs, roses, Mets losses from the Minnesota Twins.
You're not making that
I
up.
swear to God.
That's great.
That is, go this morning to the Minnesota Twins actual Twitter from the baseball team, and it reads, things you can get in a dozen: eggs, roses, Met losses. The Twins are making fun of the Mets.
Wow, are they insane?
No, I love it.
Okay, yeah, it's great. It's love it, but where
it's bad. It's bad. You're right. It's not exactly a good sport.
Are you kidding?
I know, from a team that hasn't won much, but it just goes to show. Look, I got to say this. So I'm watching both games because I'm a Yankee fan now. So my Yankees look great, you know. Big night for Giancarlo Stanton. Hits another home run, a 2-run double. Luis Gil was great on the mound last night. Shut out the Red Sox. They're also off to a bad start, 9 wins. And the Yankees have now won 4 straight. They swept the Royals. We're playing Yankee baseball, guys, okay? We're playing Yankee baseball. My team looks like the champs they are 27 times. We're playing Yankee baseball,
yeah,
bitches.
Baby. Yeah, we are.
That's right, Yankee baseball. Sticking right up Joseph Abboud's ass at Fenway
Yanks.
Park.
Come on,
which
Yanks.
is probably the wrong, I should probably take that back, shouldn't I?
Yeah. Should use something worse.
So I'm going back and forth between my Yanks, who win every night now, and the Mets. And the only thing I can think of is they had people in the stands last night. I don't know. I know. Look up the actual attendance. And all I can think of, and I'm sorry, Lisa G., I love you so much if you were there and any other friends, but what a loser. Like, it was 30 degrees out there last night. It was wet. It was damp. It was freezing. The team hasn't won since April 9th. I love going to a ball game. Did it with my dad. Do it with Gabriel. Been to a bunch of Yankee games already this year. What kind of loser is sitting in Queens last night for this losing baseball team in sub-freezing temperatures. What kind of loser?
32,000.
32,000 losers. That's what.
But that's the number of tickets that were sold.
I got to tell you, it looked like a lot of people there.
Really?
I'm watching the game. I mean, I saw plenty of empty seats, the right behind home plate, the great seats. Plenty of empty seats, but still, there was still a lot of people there. Well, who's going to this? This team stinks, and it's freezing outside. I understand it's a nice night. You want to enjoy the game with your family. These people think that because they're like loyal fans and go to every game, they're going to heaven. I swear to God. They got like child porn, some of these people, who knows what they've got. Look at some of these people at these games wearing satin baseball jackets, and they just look ridiculous. But they're out there. They're going to heaven because they love their Mets. 30 degrees. The team hasn't won in weeks. Like I said yesterday, the last time the Mets won, Iran had a Navy. I love that one. And they'll be out there again tonight with signs that read, "The streak ends tonight." Bunch of those signs last night. Like, okay, great. If the streak ends tonight, now you've lost 12 out of 13. That's something to be proud about, right? If the streak ends tonight, you still sucked a big one. Monkey balls, 8 wins. What are you, nuts? So I'm not going tonight. Well, I'm never going there.
So you're going to return Steve Cohen's call, or are you going to call him? Or
No, I'm not calling him. No.
He has to call you first.
Well, I was told he's going to call me.
So I think you need to tell him that he needs to come on here.
No, he won't do that.
But he doesn't do that, but maybe he needs to because Mets fans want to hear from him, what the hell he's going to do to fix this.
Well, I'll certainly invite him, but I'm not going to not talk to him if he doesn't come here. I'm more than happy to have a private conversation with Steve, and whatever he tells me I can't say, I won't say. You know that.
Right, but I'm just saying he'd be smart, I think, to come on and actually have a full-on interview. So you tell us what's going on.
Everybody would be smart to come on this show. Whether it's President Trump, who does come on often, Steve Cohen, Aaron Boone, Wyatt Imus, doesn't matter. You're almost not smart if you don't come on this show. If you're a New Yorker and you have any influence in this city, not just politically, but any influence, you should want to be here. That's the bottom line. You want to go on the fan with Boomer and Gio? God bless you. Have fun. No one goes across the street because they don't get guests. They say we don't want guests. No, you can't get guests. You think I'm stupid? And your ratings are embarrassing, just like the election results were. You want to have an honest conversation? You want to lie? I'll tell you the real numbers. No traction at all. Hasn't meant a thing. All the big talking. We're going to rate. Sid's not going to be number one. Blah. No traction at all. Nothing. Nothing. No one's leaving this. Why would you leave this? We got the best guests. We got the best conversations. We got great music. We talk sports. We talk lifestyle. Lewis's impressions are the best in the world. We're funny. You're going to leave this to listen to two old men talk about Eric Adams for 4 hours? That makes a lot of sense. Oh, I said it. Well, I say it a lot lately because I'm furious. Kicking their ass. Just kicking their ass. It's embarrassing. So if you switch over and you hear something different, he's lying. Lying Ted puts his hand on the Bible. He's lying. I see the numbers. 4-8 to a 2-1, 4-9 to a 2-2, 5-2 to a 1-6. These numbers mean nothing to you, but just trust me when I tell you, it is blowout. You know what I'm saying, Noam, right?
Yeah, what you're saying, yeah.
Noam's so uncomfortable because he's one of the few people here that actually still talks to that guy. So we have a couple of double agents here. I know who you are, too. So does John.
Who's the other double agent?
I'm not going to talk about it now.
No, you can't, because then you'd reveal the double agent, then you'd be a triple
agent. What are you, a dummy?
No.
Right.
Okay, no, doesn't matter.
Let me reveal the double agent. Then he'd be a single agent.
That's right. He'd be single, then he wouldn't be with us
How's the matter
anymore.
with you?
No, I mean...
Jesus, no.
Where's your espionage knowledge?
Must be confusing being a double agent. Like, single's hard enough.
Yeah.
Keep it all straight.
Noam's kind of right about that.
No, it's true. It's like how we are with each other, a double agent. Yeah. We don't know what we're thinking.
Yeah. All right, we got a lot of great guests still to come, which Lowry's coming up next. The editor of the National Review will do something after Rich. All right. Then you get Bruce Blakeman, you get Peter King, you get Wyatt Imus. Already the best show in New York radio in the first 97 minutes. The good news is we got a lot more to go. It's Wednesday on Sid and Friends in the morning.
Sid and Friends in the morning on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Democrats do not play politics the way Republicans do. The difference between the parties, they do not. They do not. Please. Democrats play by the Marquis de Queensberry rules. I think they do not. They're not rule breakers.
Oh no.
What's been fun?
You're trying to tell me
they're not.
If the Democrats take the Senate,
I would hope they would.
2027.
I hope
in 2027, and Alito retires, and Trump names a Supreme Court justice, that the Democrats are going to have hearings and actually confirm him?
I think they will.
Or her?
Because they don't
Not a chance.
That racist biatch, Joy Reid, trying to convince my guy Maury Povich that the Democrats play nice. Is she kidding me? Joy Reid is one of the most repugnant, just disgusting, repulsive, racist hags, that God has ever created. Is that fair to say? No.
Yeah, she's up there, that's for sure.
She is so disgusting. Democrats play by the rules. Are you nuts? She's the same asshole, I said it, that's right, who when I spoke at Trump's rally at Madison Square Garden, spliced a video. Her and Rachel Maddow both did it. Reid and Maddow, whatever her stupid name is. They actually spliced the video between my speech at President Trump's rally right before he won and the Nazi rally in 1936 at Madison Square Garden. Joy Reid and Rachel Maddow. Oh, I can't stand her. Rich Lowry's coming up next, and Rich will be happy to know that he inspired me to write a tweet last night at Sid Rosenberg 19. That's my Twitter account, at Sid Rosenberg 19. It goes like this. Any Jewish person that still identifies Joy Reid as a Democrat is a traitor. That goes for family and friends. Look at this vile radical woman who just won in New Jersey. Take a look at Amir Makhled. This is a Rich Lowry story. Selected by the Dems to sit on the Board of Regents at the University of Michigan. And the worst of all is our radical Islam mayor right here in New York City. Jew haters and socialists is now officially the Democrat Party. Congratulations, Joy Reid. It's been trending since the squad, but now it's everywhere. As Rich Lowry points out, the Islamization of U.S. politics is here. That's not what our country was built on. God help us. So there you go, Rich. You inspired a tweet from Sid Rosenberg last night.
That's really inspiring stuff, Sid, and it's amazing to talk to the Chief Nakahoma of the New York Mets. You leave, and they just start losing. Yeah. They got to find a way to bring you back, Sid.
Well, that's up to Steve Cohen. I was told on a serious note by a mutual friend yesterday that Cohen is going to reach out to me today. We'll see. But on a serious note, nobody in the country was even talking about that hug, which most sane people, I understand, didn't care much about it. But I went nuts because I've shaken hands with Mr. and Mrs. Met before. We've had nice interactions. But that hug with Mamdani was nearly porn. I'm like, what is this? And then I went out and I called, as you know, Rich, Mr. Met, an anti-Semite. And ever since then, the Mets have lost all 11 games.
This might, I don't mean to be slighting about your impact in New York City and elsewhere, but this might be your biggest thing you've ever driven.
Well, it's only true if you give me the credit for it. So, for example, Brian Kilmeade and Stu Varney gave me credit for it yesterday. Bill O'Reilly, Mark Simone, Outkick on Fox News. But, you watch the local media. Marshall Kramer interviewing the mayor yesterday on CBS about the Met curse. She didn't even mention my name. It all started with me.
That's
right?
terrible. That's terrible.
Terrible.
Credit where it's due, but I'm not sure how much you're a Yankee fan yet. I think you're a little tranced at the moment.
Oh, no.
You're still watching Mets games?
Well, I want them to lose, so I watch the.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, I'm watching the Yankees.
Do you have right now? If I mention that the Yankees haven't won a World Series since 2009, do you have a sick feeling in your stomach?
No, I didn't care about the Yankees back then. So the last 17.
Well, you're not a true Yankee fan.
No. The last 17 years mean nothing to me. I'm only a Yankee fan for 17 days, even less.
All right, so you expect to have a sick feeling in your stomach if we don't win it all this year?
Yes, this year I'll be very disappointed. Yeah. And I sat there last night. I watched Stanton hit that monstrous home run. I watched Stanton hit that big 2-run double. I was thrilled to see Luis Gil pitch so well. So I watched almost the whole Yankee game at Fenway Park. But it's kind of like when I watch Fox News, I enjoy it. That's the Yankees. And when I go to MS Now, I hate watch.
Freaking out in MS Now. Yeah,
yes,
I get it.
There it is.
I get it. That makes sense.
All right. So here's the story that you put out, which was syndicated in the New York Post yesterday. Michigan's Dearborn Dems preview the future of U.S. politics. And you're talking specifically about Amir Makhled, who is now a nominee for the seat on the University of Michigan Board of Regents. And again, you go back to this disgusting Lady Mejia, who beat Joe Hathaway in New Jersey. She took Mikey Muhammad Sherrill's old seat. The mayor here in New York City. This is not an okay trend. This is United States politics. And I think that was the point you were making just yesterday.
Yeah, of course. So this race in Michigan wasn't the most important one. It was for a seat on the Board of Regents of the University of Michigan, but still very telling. This guy, Makhled, he praised Hezbollah leaders on Twitter. He praised Soleimani on Twitter. He retweeted Candace Owens, that nut job, saying that Israelis are murderers and liars and blackmailers and evil and all demons and all the rest of it. And he beat a Jewish guy, completely respectable Democrat, used to be an Obama attorney, who'd been victimized by anti-Semitic vandalism, in the pro-Hamas protests because he wasn't with those people at his office, at his home, his wife's car, and the Jew lost, and the Jew hater won. And that's really a sign of where the party is going. So we have a lot of crazy anti-Semitic right-wing influencers, but they haven't changed the orientation of Republican politics, where Democrats are changing before our eyes.
No, because they're not involved with the administration. I mean, Tucker Carlson doesn't work for Trump, and now Trump has this, and now even Tucker's son, who was working with JD Vance, that kid's out. I'm not sure if he walked out to start his own political firm or they kicked him out, but they have no role in government. These Democrats are all real politicians.
Yeah, if they win in 28, you'll have some effort to make Israel into apartheid-era South Africa. That's how they'll regard it. Now, I don't think they'll actually be able to do it. It'll be a little bit like Biden was with Saudi Arabia at the beginning of this term. We're going to turn our back on these people. Then you realize they're so important you can't. But that'll be the tendency. This is a very serious thing.
I agree with you 100%. And Mamdani is the face of all of it. You do realize that. He's the face of all of it. So I got a buddy at the Pentagon last night who sent me this. You know I love Trump more than anybody, okay? I think more than Melania. And I feel badly ever criticizing the president. I'm not sure this is criticizing him, but somebody at the Pentagon did. And I'm starting to look at some of this and go, some of it makes a little bit of sense. Look, I'm still happy that President Trump started this with Iran. I thought it was a necessity. I still do. This is the country that is the reason why you've got those terror proxies killing Americans. Listen carefully, folks. I know it's all about the Jews for Sid, killing Americans and Israelis, whether it's Hezbollah, Hamas, the Houthis, and other Iranian groups over the last 47 years. So I'm all for President Trump starting the war, but now it's starting to get silly. All right, you're 2 months in. It's another ceasefire, and I think we're confused. I really do. So I got this last night from a friend who was at the Pentagon. And it says, Sid, before the war, Iran did not control the Strait of Hormuz. They do now. Iran oil was sanctioned. Now it's not. Iran was not really building a nuclear weapon, according to the Pentagon Intelligence Agency. Now they will. U.S. bases in the Gulf were assets. Now they're liabilities. And everyone is laughing at us because the truth is Trump and the United States is stuck. Any validity, in your opinion, to any of that?
I think there's validity to it. I know that's not quite my take, but I think it was a big problem that we didn't plan properly around an Iranian attempt to take over the Strait of Hormuz prior to the war. According to the credible reporting, it's because Trump just thought they'd capitulate before then. Clearly they haven't. So we are stuck at the moment. I think the blockade is a creative idea and one that has a lot of merit, and we can basically trade eventually, I think, we'll end the blockade if you end your blockage of the strait, and then we'll get some sort of JCPOA type deal. I think it'll be a little better probably than the JCPOA, but I think it'll be a better situation because you're layering on top of some assurance that they'll pause for a while, massive destruction of their weapon systems, their military, and their economy. So I think it'll take years for them to recover from this. Is it everything you would have hoped for at the outset? The regime falls or we go get the uranium? No, it's going to be a continuation of what's been a 50-year war. But are they more powerful or less than they were 3 or 4 weeks?
Not even close. Right? They're less
it's
powerful.
Be less for years.
Right. They're less powerful. But I keep hearing people like I was talking to Brian Kilmeade this morning, and he said, "Look, I fully expect Trump and the United States to go back in there with some more military power." Okay, that's what I want to see. I wanted to see that 2 weeks ago, Tuesday night. I was furious 2 weeks ago. That's great. He said, "Yeah, we're going to finish the job," and I said, "Really? What does that mean at this point?" Finish the job. I mean, does that mean you're getting the uranium? Does that mean that you're going to be once again in total control of the Strait of Hormuz? Does that mean that the IRGC, which I think is the most important part of this, is completely destroyed? When people keep saying on TV, Trump supporters and elsewhere, finish the job, which Lowry, what the hell does that mean?
I've had exactly the same thought in almost exactly the same words. Finishing the job would be ending the regime. It's just outside of our power. It's not outside of our power in theory, right? We could march a couple divisions in there and end it in a week if we wanted to, but we don't want to because we want to pay that kind of price. So I do wonder. I think Trump clearly is really reluctant to start hitting them hard again. I think he might have to. I think we might need to do more in the strait, kind of run freedom of navigation operations, as they call them, to demonstrate that they can't control the strait. But short of that, I don't think they believe him. I don't think they believe in any of these threats anymore, which is a problem in terms of leverage.
I don't think they cared in the beginning. Mm-hmm. They'd rather die. These Iranians, they'd rather die. But now, to your point, they didn't care in the beginning, and now they're not even intimidated because how many times can you say the same thing? Oh, it's going to be all hell. I'm blowing it up. Don't forget, he did the same thing in Gaza, the president, for a while. I'm going to go in there and I'm going to blow up the whole thing. And eventually, you got to thank him forever because he got every hostage out, dead or alive, which Biden could never do, Harris could never do. That's what makes Trump maybe the greatest president ever. But whether it's the Middle East or this one, or he hasn't really threatened, obviously, Putin or Zelensky with any military might, but he has done that now in the Middle East with Gaza and Iran, and he has come up short more than he has actually done what he said he was going to do. Is that a fair call?
Yeah, the problem is these people are fanatics. As you say, they're a suicide cult, basically, at bottom. And they just, within the last several months, gunned down tens of thousands of their own people on the streets. So they're really going to care that their infrastructure projects are being blown up? No. So that's a problem. I do think that eventually there'll be a deal, but it will not be a deal that is everything we would have wanted.
All right. Well, I'll be watching television tonight with our Yanks. I'm so excited about our team.
Got Fried going tonight?
Oh, baby. Oh, I love it. Max Fried against the Red Sox. We're already burying Boston in April. This is great.
Red Sox only have 13 homers all season.
Yeah, no. I don't know. Listen, like Rick Pitino once said about Bird and Parrish and McHale, Mookie Betts and Bogarts are not walking through that door anytime soon. So I'm not exactly sure what Joel Boot is rooting for up there at Fenway Park, but it's nice to see the Yankees make quick work in this series. And as always, Rich Lowry, you're amazing. Thank you so much.
All right, thanks, Ed. Carry on.
Take care. Yeah, I will. There he is, the editor of the National Review. His stuff is often syndicated right here. In fact, again, I referred to an article just yesterday in the New York Post. He's on Fox News a couple times a week, and, of course, he's on this show every week. My friend Rich Lowry will take a short break. When we get back, he happens to be the president of the DEA, the Detectives Endowment Association. They got a big rally outside of City Hall coming up tomorrow. Sott Munro's had enough. He said, Mr. Mayor, you were out there for the nurses. You're out there for the doormen. How about the cops? How about the cops? One time, Mr. Mayor. Sott Munro coming up next.
Sid and Friends in the morning on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Great smile. Racist! Racist Iran! Racist!
Every day, the NYPD detectives and cops across the city and state are being harassed, followed, filmed, doxxed, targeted by social media agitators looking to go viral, and it's putting lives at risk. Mayor Mamdani, you have the luxury of not dealing with these dangerous agitators. You've got a wall of blue around you 24/7, detectives protecting you, creating the very buffer zone we're fighting for to protect our protectors. Those same detectives are out on the street with cameras shoved in their faces, being followed, interfered with, and harassed while trying to protect New Yorkers. Mr. Mayor, you're New Yorkers. That's the reality on the ground every single day. And it needs to end. This isn't about politics. It's about safety. It's not about the far left. It's not about the right. You've stood with other unions, the doormen, the nurses. Now we're asking you to stand with us. The men and women that wear the uniform. We brought this to your doorsteps. We made it easy for you. Stand with the New York State Public Safety Alliance on April 23rd. Help us pass legislation to stop harassment and create a real buffer zone for the hardworking men and women who keep your New York City safe, that keep New York State safe. Because if you don't protect the cops, you won't have cops, and public safety will disappear. Enough is enough. It's time to lead.
Classy plea right there from my dear friend, the president of the DEA, the union, the Detectives Endowment Association, Sott Munro. Just saw Scott a couple of weeks ago when the retired detectives, led by Don Alisi, they put together a wonderful night at Frankie Russo's place. Russo's on the Bay in Howard Beach. They honored me and Paul Morrow and Bo Dietl. But I did have Sott Munro on the show since because he did a similar video a couple of weeks ago where he said, hey, listen, you know, the mayor actually made it illegal. I don't know if it's illegal, but, you know, he made sure that you can no longer catcall in the city. So when my gorgeous wife, and she is gorgeous, Danielle walks down the street, these horny, low-life, degenerate construction workers can't be saying, hey, baby, great ass. Can't do that anymore. But to Scott's point, cops walk down the street, you can scream, you dirty pig, you can spit on them, you can throw stuff at them. Something seems wrong there, right? So when I tell President Trump, stop saying Mamdani's a good guy, it's not just about the Jews, Curtis, not just about the Jews or Israel, it's the cops. I love the cops. Scott's about to tell you how much I love the cops. And this guy doesn't care, not even a little. He wants to defund them. He wants to replace them. He wants to tear down the SRG. He wants people to leave. He'd love to see every cop in this city go to Florida. He couldn't care less. That's not a good guy. Doesn't care about the safety of his people. Doesn't care. So with that said, here he is, DEA president, and a man I'm proud to call a friend, Sott Munro. Scotty, good morning, pal. How are you?
Good morning. Thanks for having me on.
I love having you on. Did I lay that out pretty good there, Scotty? Was that pretty accurate?
Yes, you sure did. I'll tell you, I'm very excited about tomorrow. We got people from all over the state coming, whether you're a correction officer or a court officer or, believe it, FD, the firemen. Everybody loves the firemen. You never hear anything about the firemen. I spoke to the fire unions yesterday. They were excited about it. And, you know, this is about law enforcement. It's about respecting law enforcement. And that's why we have problems where we're at. People think they could do anything they want, the cops. And this is what happens in New York City. It's going to come to a county near you in the state. It's going to come to a village near you in the state. We can't let this happen.
It already did. I mean, it already did. I was in New Jersey. My dear friend, my best friend, Joseph Ayaba, and his lovely daughter, Joelle, got married at a beautiful place, the Pleasantdale Chateau in West Orange, New Jersey. I wasn't home. But I came home to find that on the streets, not far from me, I live in Queens, Middle Village, drag racing, setting fires, Palestinian flags. I had Vicky Palladino, the great city council lady, on this show a couple days ago. So it's already happening in some of the finer neighborhoods, Scott. We're not talking about rundown, rough neighborhoods. Nice neighborhoods in all the boroughs are starting to see chaos and violence.
Well, this is why we put this Public Safety Alliance together, which has over 500,000 votes. I think it's even more than that. And it's going to count in the local elections. It's going to count in the Senate, the Assembly, the governor's election. And we are going to count this time around. In November, we will count. Our vote will count.
God, I hope so. You know, I've been having fun with this whole Met curse, you know, and I started it. I know a lot of the local media doesn't mention me, but I started the whole thing. As soon as Mr. Met hugged Mamdani, I called Mr. Met an anti-Semite. It went viral. It's a silly story, but I'm going to get to a point here. The point is, eventually, the owner of the Mets, Steve Cohen, needs to reach out to me. He just does. That's the bottom line, okay? I'm at the head of this story, which the whole city is buying. Kind of the same thing with you. The head that you're trying to reach out to is Mamdani. So while you're going to rally tomorrow and you keep making these really good, Scott, really good video pleas to get some help, have you heard anything from this mayor or people close to him?
Well, we invited the governor, who declined to come. I guess it wasn't on her agenda that day. And we invited the mayor, and the mayor hasn't gotten back yet. And I'll be totally honest with you, I hope the mayor's there. I hope he stands right next to me, because I need him to support these bills. He doesn't vote on these bills up in Albany. The people in the Senate and the Assembly, and of course the governor has to sign these bills. So this is what we're doing. I was told this bill would never get done. And you know what? I'm going to fight for law enforcement. I'm going to fight for the men and women with the uniform, that this does not continue, that they'll spend a night in jail, and that we could sue them for what they do.
Good, because
that's the only way this is going to stop.
Right, so I just want people to know, you keep mentioning this bill, and there's really no context. So what Scott is talking about is they want to pass legislation, like I talked about when I introduced them, no catcalling. They want to introduce legislation where you cannot abuse cops physically or even verbally when they're walking down the streets. Is that about right?
Correct. Anybody in law enforcement, public safety, it could be a traffic agent. They're going to be standing there with us tomorrow. It's anybody that is in some type of law enforcement in New York State, whether you're a sheriff out in Suffolk County or you're a sheriff upstate or you're from Buffalo. Buffalo's on board with this. This is why we're doing this. This is in the governor's lane. Now, it would be great if the mayor supported these bills for us to say, you know what, Governor, I think you should do this. This should not be happening in New York City. That would be very helpful.
Right, so the governor, of course, the legislation part is important with her, but the mayor is the one who runs the NYPD. You know, last I checked, our mutual friend who we both love, Jessica Tisch, the police commissioner, she works for the mayor, not the governor. So, yes, legislation, bills, that's Albany, that's Kathy Hochul. But in terms of the NYPD, I believe that it's vital that Mamdani is there tomorrow. Vital.
Yeah, I hope he is. I hope he comes. I never met him yet. I never met him.
Me either.
He was elected in November. I still haven't met him. He did go to promotions a couple weeks ago. I shook his hand on stage. But the bottom line is that it's when we do these bills up in Albany. The last mayor, he was on board with us, Eric Adams, on our bills, and that's how we got these bills done. He was in support of these bills, and we need the mayor to support this bill.
He's not going to. He hates the cops. He hates you guys. Well, what? He hates you. Scott, he hates you.
Take that challenge on.
All right. Well, when he doesn't show up, and he's not going to, because he hates you, and I love you. You know how much I love you, and I said this during my speech in Howard Beach 2 weeks ago. See, if he shows up, for me, it's a weird situation. If he shows up, he's being a phony. It'll be like him going to a bar mitzvah at this point. Are you kidding me? But if he doesn't show up, then it's still not good, even though he's showing his true colors. The truth is, and you know this, Scott, he doesn't like you guys. He doesn't like you.
Well, listen, I just don't want him to hug me because I don't want no bad luck.
Hey, is Jessica Tisch coming to this tomorrow?
No, they don't. Normally that doesn't happen with the police commissioners and stuff. We have a lot of politicians that are calling interest that they want to come. So they are coming. I mean, the two politicians, the two political leaders that wrote this legislation, they'll be there tomorrow. They're Democrats, and they're moderate Democrats, and they believe in policing. That's why they wrote the bill.
Oh, good. Can you name their names, or you don't want to?
Yeah, no, I name them. It's Jessica Scarsdale-Spaten, a senator. Okay, and the Assemblyman is Kawani Alfaro from the Assembly. And they believe in policing. Actually, Kawani is a retired detective that's an Assembly person now. and he wrote the bill in the assembly.
Right. So I would say screw Hochul because she doesn't care. She's not going to come. She's not going to help you. Screw the mayor because he's not going to come. But the guy that I would want there is actually calling me in about an hour and 15 minutes, Sott Munro, and he happens to be the Nassau County executive, but hopefully he'll be our next governor. Bruce Blakeman should be there tomorrow.
Every politician is invited to this. If you believe in policing, come on down. We did it right on the steps of City Hall. We want to make it convenient for the mayor to come. That's why I did it on the steps of City Hall. Welcome everybody to come. It's 12 o'clock tomorrow at City Hall.
Well, I think it's a great rally, Scott. And, you know, the DEA is really lucky. I don't need to blow smoke up your ass because I love the last guy. I love Paul DiGiacomo. Loved him. He's a dear friend. But, man, you are really great in this position as well. That was a very difficult spot to fill, and you are great. You really are. You care about this city. You care about the cops. I mean, look, I know you guys have had a rough couple of weeks. It was very nice at Arthur Aidala and Vinnie Valalong and all those guys. The SBA figured out a way to get our buddy Eric Duran out of jail after that Judge Guy Mitchell, 3 to 9 years on Eric Duran. That is ridiculous. He shouldn't be in jail at all, let alone that harsh of a sentence. But how do you feel about the fact that at least today Eric Duran is home?
I feel great. You know, that's a win for all law enforcement. That's just not law enforcement, their families. The bottom line is that we're out there doing a job. They took an oath to do this job. Not everything's pretty, Sid. Not everything's pretty, but they took an oath to do this job. They'll still protect the communities, and they'll still do their job here at the NYPD. Even though you want to cut our budget, you want to keep doing that. And the bottom line is we're still out there because we work in the communities that we live in, and we're going to move forward.
Scott, you're a hero. I mean, keep up the great work. Good luck at tomorrow's rally. I think I got to be in Jersey. I'm going to be hosting an event, but if I have a couple of minutes before, I'll try to run over there. Either way, good luck tomorrow. It's a great rally, worthwhile. It is noon on the steps of City Hall. Is that right?
Yes, it is.
Sott Munro, thank you so much, buddy.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
All right. Sott Munro right there, the president of the DEA, not the Drug Enforcement Agency, the Detectives Endowment Association, and he does a terrific job. And he's a great guy, great cop, great New Yorker, my friend Sott Munro. We'll take a break. Nomi's got the news. We still have a couple of, more than a couple. We've got 3 great guests stopping by today. He's running for governor. Right now, he's a Nassau County executive. My friend Bruce Blakeman will be here. We'll also talk to the former congressman, Homeland Security, big-time guy, Peter King, and Imus. Imus back on WABC today. Unfortunately, we couldn't get Don. But we got the next closest thing, his son Wyatt Imus on ABC. He'll be here in about 15 minutes.
Sid and Friends in the morning on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Of a great show, and you have big ratings, Sid. I don't even know if you know how good your show is, okay? But you have big ratings, and you have a great show, and you've been my friend for a long time, and I appreciate it. Because you're the best guy, you're an incredible guy in New York, you've become the go-to guy.
This is Ace. This is a great song, How Long? Lou tells me that Paul Carrick, who worked with a couple of great bands, love all these bands, Squeeze and Mike and the Mechanics, that's Mike Rutherford's band. He was with Genesis. And these guys, Ace, Paul Carrick, celebrating a birthday today. Is that how you say his name, Louis?
That's it, Paul Carrick.
How old is Paul Carrick today? 75.
So he's on a lot of stuff.
No, he's on 3 great bands right there. Yeah. Carrick, 75 today. We celebrated Peter Frampton earlier. He's 76. And who else? Glenn Campbell. Glenn Campbell. He would have been 90 today, but of course, he passed away. Big dinner last night at La Sorrentina. I know you love that place, Lou. They love you there. That's John Mazzola, JoJo. It's a great place.
Great place.
Spoke to a guy who's a friend of John. He listens every morning. He's listening right now. He loves us. His name is Gary Binder. So, Gary, thank you for listening every day. He's somewhere in Brooklyn, listens every morning. We appreciate that. And then I'm walking home from La Sorrentina. I'm cold. It was cold out last night. And I'm about 5 blocks away from the house. And a car pulls up, rolls down the window. And who is it? The lovely Donna Sullivan, who, of course, is the wife of Mike Sullivan, Brennan and Carr in Brooklyn. And he listens every day. His brother Thomas, running for office again in Queens. And his brother Russ, former Secret Service, somewhere in Virginia, Maryland. He listens every day. So it was great seeing the lovely Donna Sullivan yesterday. Thank you, Donna, for taking me home. And, of course, we've got the Mets. We've got the Metropolitans looking to avoid their 13th consecutive loss tonight, taking on Minnesota. I think Clay Holmes is on the mound for the Mets later on tonight. It's going to be cold again, and all these people are going to be out there. I may not see the whole game. I got to go to bed early. I've got a huge event tomorrow, and you guys know I've had Alex Zidane in studio twice over the last couple of weeks, and he's going to run against that louse, that jerk-off Cory Booker in New Jersey. So I'm obviously enthusiastically endorsing Alex Zidane, and he's got a huge event coming up tomorrow night in Colts Neck, New Jersey at Trump National, which I'll be emceeing and speaking. I got that tomorrow. And then Friday, I've been invited to the Metropolitan Club annual gala. They'll be honoring a lot of great people. Congressman Randy Fine out of Florida, Emily Austin, Rudy Giuliani, and Krisha Lenzo, who does a great job at that club, wants to give me an award. They've already awarded me like 10 times, I swear to God. They got Johnny Tobacco hosting the event. They want to give me some America-Israel Alliance award. I'm honored, but I'm not sure I can make it. I've got a big birthday weekend planned with Danielle, so we'll see. A lot going on, Louis. I'm a very busy guy.
And restaurants and everything, too.
Everywhere. Sammy's Romanian coming up on Friday night.
What?
Oh, yeah. Making the return. I did 50 there. Now I'm 59. 9 years later, making the return to Sammy's Romanian. Oh, we'll take a break. When we get back, a lot of folks really looking forward to this one, as I am. Happens to me and Imus. Imus back on ABC, not Don, unfortunately. God rest his soul. But we got his little boy, who's not a little boy anymore. I think he's 27 years old. Wyatt Imus doing some big things out in the great state of Texas. Wyatt Imus back on WABC. He's coming up next.
Sid and Friends in the morning on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Rolling by on the road to greatness. We did that. You did that. I did that. That's what we did. You goddamn right. That's what we did.
Here it is, the famous mic drop. The very last day for the late, great Don Imus. Imus in the morning, which... So it all started from me, basically. I did sports talk radio down in Florida, I don't know, for a couple of years. And then I got my first opportunity in New York in 2000, host a morning show. At the time, the station was doing very, very well. Had people like Opie and Anthony and the Radio Chick and Ron and Fez and Don and Mike, and had a couple of partners, Scott Kaplan, Craig Carton. But it failed. And after 1 year, I was heading back to Florida. And I got a phone call from Steve Cohen, not the owner of the Mets. Our Steve Cohen, who spent a lot of years at Sirius XM. I don't know where he is now. Married to the lovely Eileen Marchese Cohen. And he said, the guys at the band actually like you. So I went and I met with Lee Davis and Mark Chernoff. Turns out Connie Fitzgerald was a big fan too. And they hired me. Chernoff said to me, I said, Mark, I got to make more money. He said, well, here's the deal. They're about to start a new network. It's going to be called the Yes Network. George Steinbrenner. I think it starts in November. This is about 4 months prior to that. So when the network starts, Susan Waldman's going to leave, and I'm going to team you up with Jody McDonald to do the midday show. That's how you're going to make more money. But for starters, you're going to do sports on Imus. I said, what? I'm going to do what? He said, yeah. In fact, you're going to come down next week to Rockefeller Center. Imus is doing his... I guess all those 3 days, the fundraiser. What'd you call that again?
Radiothon.
Those radiothons were great. Raised money for great causes. Sid's, Joel Hollander, right, David Jurist, and, of course, the Imus Ranch. So I met Imus. He was disinterested. But Mike Breen said, don't worry. You guys will get along great. It'll be great. And then it all started. And, I was on that show every weekday for about 5 years, but that relationship lasted on and off the air, me and Imus. Believe it or not, for 18 years. 18 till he died, which still makes me sad, back in December of, I guess, 2020. And Lou, you were with Imus for how long?
I think it was 19. I think it was 2019, so
No, but you started.
Oh, when I
with
started?
Don.
I thought
Yeah.
we were talking about when he passed. Oh, I started in 88.
88. So you were with Don a long time.
Almost 30 years.
Yeah, so. Had the opportunity to speak to his wife, Deirdre, Saturday. She reached out. It was great. We had a great conversation. And the conversation between me and Deirdre Imus led to a discussion about their son, Wyatt, who's doing great stuff out there in Texas. And that turned into a conversation between me and Wyatt just a couple of days ago. And he's doing some big things. I said, hey, come on the show. Let's get you on. Everybody loves an Imus in New York City. Still a legend. So with that said, here he is, the son of the late, great Don Imus, the very impressive Wyatt Imus. Wyatt, good morning, pal. How are you?
Good morning. Thank you very much for having me.
Good
you
time.
know,
Yeah.
you gotta know, playing that mic drop wherever my mother's listening right now, she's undoubtedly crying.
Yeah, I know. Sounds like you're crying. Are you okay?
Oh, I'm fine. You could have played the Rush song, Tom Sawyer. You could have had Lou play that. Yeah. And that would have been great, but
I know. We do play Rush on this show quite a bit because I happen to love the song Limelight. But we do play Tom Sawyer, and every time we play it, Wyatt, it's like, that's Imus's song. But we wanted the audience to get emotional because your father
get everybody crying.
Yes,
Try to have a conversation.
Yes, and right now your father is somewhere, okay, and he's laughing his ass off watching everybody cry. Yeah. Yeah. What? How old were you when your father passed away?
He passed away in 2019, so I was 21 years old.
So now you're going to be 28, if my math is right. Is that right?
That is correct. I'll be 28 in July.
So before we get to what you're doing, and again, you're doing great stuff, how has your life changed? I mean, obviously you loved your dad. You guys had a great relationship. Trust me, we all know it. Great rodeo days, and he was so proud of you. He loved you. How has your life changed since your dad passed away?
Oftentimes I talk to people who really lean on their fathers, right? And I had a great relationship with mine, and he was heavily involved in everything I did. Well, with that, you have an unbelievable security net, right? You have, the ability to talk to somebody who you value more than anything.
Yeah.
And when somebody like that goes away, it leaves an impact where you no longer have that. It's like it's like jumping into the ocean and then somebody reaches down and takes your life raft.
I like that. That's true.
He did such a great job demonstrating, to me at least, how to be a man and live your life. And so he left me with a lot of great lessons and what I think is a decent ability to navigate life. And I'm forever thankful for that. But, it changes you forever. Yeah. Especially if you have a great relationship with your father and you no longer have that, it changes everything. It changes the trajectory of your life because it takes away, like I said, that analogy, that life raft in every way.
Well, I can tell you that I know exactly what you're talking about because my dad was my best friend, Wyatt. When I was a little boy, he was my manager in Little League. He was my coach in football. We talked every day. Wyatt, for about 19 years, whether I was doing a show in Florida or New York City, when the show ended, let's say 10 o'clock, 10:01, I got a text from my dad. And he would say, Sidney, you were great today. I said, Dad. Not every day am I great. He goes, no, you are. I am biased. And my father passed away. It'll be 6 years in July. And it hurts me still. In fact, my birthday was Sunday, and my dad sang happy birthday to me, literally 2 months before he passed away. And I play it on this show every year. And it hurts, But it struck me, at least, after my dad passed away, we went as a family to Newport, Rhode Island. I had to get away. I couldn't be here. Right. And I came back, and that first Monday morning, back on the air, I didn't get that text at 10:01.
No.
And that's when I realized he's really gone. No, he's not gone. His memories are here, and people tell me all the time all my successes because he's making sure that's the case. And I know in your case, your father Don is doing the same thing, but I know exactly what you're talking about.
Absolutely. And I feel so fortunate, too, because in a lot of cases, people lose somebody like that. They only have a few texts maybe a voicemail, whatever. Well, I can go to YouTube or turn on your show and, listen to your impression of him. And
yeah, it's not terrible.
It's
getting better.
Just called me minutes before getting on here was the great Bo Dietl.
Yes. Well, he's very proud of you. I spoke to Bo yesterday. Now he's aware of what you're doing with the horses.
Yeah.
Now you got to hit him. Well, you got to hit him up for cash because, and I love Bo too. He's an uncle to me. He's no longer a friend. Now he's my relative. He said, I got guys who want to invest. So the fact that you mentioned Bo is the perfect transition, Wyatt, to tell the folks exactly what you're doing today, which Bo is interested in and wants to help. And the beauty of it is, going back to your late great father, it was a dream of his that has now become a reality. Tell my audience about that.
Well, absolutely. He, a lot of people, I'm sure people know, but a lot of people don't really recognize that he was raised on a 40,000-acre cattle ranch between Kingman and Seligman, Arizona. My grandfather had a big ranch out there for years before he passed away, and they raised Hereford cattle. So all those years, him wearing the cowboy hat, it wasn't a stick of any kind. Like, he was cowboy through and through. He was the real-life John Wayne. So when he and my mother founded the Imus Ranch for Kids with Cancer, they took all the values that embodied great cowboys from the way he was raised, and they implemented it in helping these kids with cancer for years in New Mexico. As you pointed out before I came on, raised millions and millions of dollars to help, SIDS and all the kids with cancer and everything. Well, when I got old enough and started roping and liking horses and being around horses, we got into that aspect of it more, which is, the performance horse side of, like, ranch life and the Western way of life. If you ever watched Yellowstone, a really popular show,
Loved it.
Sheridan did.
Loved it. I loved it. I told you this off the air, but it's great. And I live and I'm a Brooklyn kid. Look, I'm not gonna lie. I rode a horse on a vacation in Cyprus on the beach last summer. Before that, it was 12 years ago upstate. So I'm not exactly John Wayne, but I was addicted to that show until they got rid of Kevin Costner. But nevertheless, it made me appreciate cowboy life in the great state of Montana.
Exactly. Well, he did a phenomenal job, Taylor Sheridan being, of demonstrating how the Western performance horses and that side of it tied into ranching. So that was what my dad started about 10 or 11 years ago when we moved to the ranch here in Brenham, Texas, which is where he did his final sign-off that you played. He started a performance horse program, and you raise and train high-level athletes, equine athletes, and you compete on them. Well, his dream was that the industry in itself would get to the point where it was like, the Kentucky Derby, which is coming up here in a couple weeks, where, the purses were big, the money was big, people really wanted to be involved, and it's arrived. What he was hoping would happen has happened.
Wow.
The industry's reached a point now where, it's a multi-billion-dollar industry. I mean, there's events that pay out millions of dollars to a single horse. I mean, the involvement has escalated to the point where, in the next couple years, it'll rival an event like the Kentucky Derby.
And you're telling me, Wyatt, again, for the folks that aren't into it as much, now this is a business investment. You don't got to be living on a ranch in Texas to make money.
No.
Right. But you're telling me similar like they're not racehorses, not the Kentucky Derby. So similar like maybe the dog show, the Westminster Dog Show. These are show horses. Is it similar in that type of competition?
Yeah, it's relatively similar, but in the sense where I, take them to events and compete on them in an event which is called team roping. And you might have, my dad, he used to beat everybody to death with all my runs.
Yeah, it's great.
He'd play them constantly. And, one guy's on a horse, another guy's on a horse, come out, rope a steer, and, that's how it goes. So that's the event, and the horses we raise that we show them in.
Got it.
And like you're saying, it's reached a point where you don't have to have a backyard for your horse to be involved nowadays. it's at such a level now where we manage the horses as agents, and they are high-level athletes, and we raise them, train them, and let them perform on the biggest stages all around the country, and they win a lot of money. So it's exactly like you're saying. You don't have to even ever sit on one. You don't have to sit on a horse to own one or to be involved or to benefit from them.
So what is the easiest way for somebody listening in Brooklyn or Staten Island right now, Wyatt, to get involved in this? Make some money.
I mean, the easiest way to get involved would be to just contact me. I mean, we're on the rise. My dad started a legacy program that I've carried on, and we're at an amazing point. And here's the deal: I'm a man of the people, like he was. So if you want to talk to me, you can call me. You can call my number or text me. My number would be 832-992-4687. And 4687 actually spelled Imus, which is kind of cool. And then we have a presence on social media. We have an Instagram, a TikTok, a Facebook. It's at Imus Ranch. We're always happy to engage with anybody. So those are great ways to get involved.
Your father right now is saying, did my son just give out his cell phone number with millions of people listening? Now you're going to get like naked drunk texts from Justin Ellick at like 4 o'clock in the morning on a Sunday, Wyatt.
I didn't say that was my personal number.
Okay, good.
I just said that's the number you can reach me at.
I got it. So the ranch is still the Imus Ranch, and do you guys still do some of this stuff with the kids and all that, or have you basically moved on from that? And because I know you're in charge of, you overlook about 100 horses. Have you moved on from that, or is that still part of the daily life on the Imus Ranch?
It's not a part of the daily life as far as kids coming out and being involved anymore, but we still have the Imus Ranch Foundation donate millions of dollars to causes every single year. My mother, she's on the board of the Children's Health Defense, battling for children's health. And we support veterans. There's a huge event every year in the fall. And we support, there's a big event in Fort Worth, Texas. We donate money and support veterans who come out and they learn how to ride horses, learn how to rope, compete, learn kind of about the cowboy way of life. And, we're very involved that way through the Imus Ranch Foundation. But the Imus Ranch here in Brenham, Texas, is specifically just about performance horses, about what my dad started a little over a decade ago, and that's what we're physically focused on. But
and again,
the foundation is a well and live.
Right. But again, you oversee about 100 horses. Is that about right? Is that the number?
About 50.
50.
50 between performance horses that are ages 3 to 6 years old that are either getting ready to start their competition career or in the middle of their competition career, and then it's like brood mares, which are female horses who carry babies. That's their only job, is to produce foals. And yearlings, 2-year-olds, 3-year-olds, 4-year-olds. If you add them all up, it's about 50 horses.
About 50 horses. So what part of your dad's job, whether it was WFAN or you weren't born, I guess you were maybe at the end of that stay, but WABC, what part of all that do you miss the most, if you miss any of it?
His impact was he could make phone calls and make things happen for you.
Yeah.
It's a drop of a hat. That was unbelievable. And, there's so many people who just say, man, I would love to hear what your dad had to say about this.
Yeah.
And knowing that he had that impact, just like you, Bo tells me that you're the biggest deal in New York now.
No, I'm huge. I'm right there with your father. I know it sounds crazy. You can't believe it. I was that dopey sports guy on your father's show 20 years ago, but I'm right there. He'd
be extremely proud. He would.
Thank you.
He would undoubtedly have his notes, but he would be very proud.
Well, I'm sure he's very, very proud of you. In fact, you are, according to your mom, you getting married in a couple of weeks?
I have a fiance getting married in October, Jordan Meek. She's, I'll tell you something really interesting about, not about her, but just about the whole situation was years ago, the great Bill White, who's now the ambassador to Belgium.
Yes. Just so you know, when he comes on the show, which is every now and then, I introduce Bill White as my favorite homosexual.
Yeah, my dad used to call him the Rear Admiral.
That's right. That was a great line. Great line.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, he was raising a bunch of money for the Intrepid. You know, Mr. Bill White used to do all that. And my dad was helping him raise some money for the Intrepid. And 2 Marines came on my dad's show to talk about it, and he had them on. And my dad was a Marine. He served. And anyway, one of the Marines that was on the show and sat there and talked to my dad was my fiance's father.
No kidding.
Yeah.
How many years ago was that conversation?
That had to be almost 20 years ago.
Oh, my God. What are the odds of that?
I know. Isn't that crazy? We didn't figure it out until 3 or 4 years ago. I was at my in-laws for the holidays, and her dad, Jim Meek, he served in the Marines for over 2 decades. He flew the Osprey. He said, I've met your father, and he told me the story, and I went back and found it, and that they'd met and talked and everything years ago.
That's unbelievable. So, do you miss New York at all? I could see you like a little kid running around the studios at the radio station, and here in New York and Connecticut, obviously as well. Your mom and dad had a nice place out there. Do you miss the East Coast, or are you just so happy down there in Texas?
I'm extremely happy in Texas. We spent so much time in New Mexico with what my parents were doing out there, and the cowboy way of life is something that I've really loved since I was little, and my dad embodied that, and I always grew up, I wanted to be just like him. So I love where I am, and I love what we're doing, and I love the cowboy lifestyle, but New York's the greatest city in the world, and I wouldn't trade anything for being raised there, obviously, by 2 incredible parents.
Good for you. Well, you're an amazing kid, I got to say, Wyatt, and I've known you all the way. Pretty much, I guess. Yeah, pretty much your whole life. I guess you were about 6 when I first met you, but you're clearly doing a great job. One more time for the folks out there that are interested, like Bo Dietl. Bo is investing in this. He's got a lot of friends who are investing as well. We love Bo. He's on every Tuesday. For folks who do want to get involved, give out the website, any numbers, any way to make it easy on these folks to get involved today.
Instagram is at Imus Ranch. Super easy. You message us, DM us, whatever. Super responsive. We have a presence on TikTok and Facebook, which is all at Imus Ranch. My personal Instagram is at Wyatt Imus Official. You have to go to the official one. Some kid hacked my old one years ago. At Wyatt Imus Official. And then you can reach me at 832-992-4687.
Which spells Imus.
Wyatt,
it's great to catch up with you again. Obviously, your father has a special place in our hearts here. All the success that we're enjoying today, none of this would have happened without your dad. So, I know when you talk about the all-time greats, that your dad is right there at the very top of the list, So, I'm glad that you and I had the chance to talk, and your mother and I had a chance to talk, and you sound great. I'm excited for you. And we'll keep bringing you back, you and your mom, and continue this relationship, which is now 2 decades old. Wyatt Imus, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
God bless you, pal. Wyatt Imus, right here on Sid Friends in the Morning. What a great kid, huh? 27 years old and doing some big things out there in the state of Texas. I'm sure Deirdre, I know Deirdre is very, very proud. I'm sure somewhere his dad, Don, is very proud as well. We're going to take a short break. We still have 2 more great guests to come. Bruce Blakeman's going to be here. Peter King is going to be here. Thank you, Wyatt Imus. The Wednesday edition of Sid and Friends in the Morning rolls on. Here you go, Wyatt. Little Tom Sawyer. Rush.
Sid and Friends in the Morning on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Peter Frampton, the great Peter Frampton, celebrating his 76th birthday today. And me and Lou are celebrating with him. 9:06 on what is now a rainy Wednesday morning here in New York City. Promises to be gorgeous tomorrow, which is good because I'm going to be out on Trump National in New Jersey. 74, sunny tomorrow. They're not so nice, I guess, or cooler at least. What is the, before I get to Peter King, what is the forecast, Noam, after tomorrow? It's been such a wildly inconsistent weather pattern.
Yeah, it is not good. Like it's in the 50s and 60s into the middle of next week. Yeah.
You know who's so happy? My friend Raul. You know who that is?
I don't know Raul, no.
He owns a Portofino tanning salon. Raul, I don't know how to say his name exactly.
Right, so they can't get the sun for free if it's not out, so they go.
I got to go to him.
Yeah,
because once the weather gets nice, I'm MIA. Can't find me because I'm outside getting sun. So, for example, let's say May 1st, we run a stretch of 3 months where it's 80 and sunny, whatever it is. Unless there's like a rainy pattern during the summer, I don't go to the tanning salon. I come back when the weather's not good, which is now like 7 months a year here. But he's got me still coming because I can't string together 3 or 4 nice days. So it's good for the tanning salon business. You own a tanning salon, no?
Do I go to a tanning salon? No.
Do you own one?
I do not own one, no.
You should buy one in Jersey City. It's good money.
Yeah. I mean, it's probably safer to get your tan that way, I would imagine.
No, it's not
doing
safe.
it in the sun.
No,
No,
you're gonna die
it's
either
not.
way. You're going to die either way.
Do you do the lights or the spray on? when
I
you
do
go there?
everything.
Oh.
Some days, I swear to God, I do both. Like I have a really big event, and they call it double dipping. I forget what they call it, but I'll go into the bed for like 10 minutes and then spray myself for like, I don't know what it calls. What it is.
Is the place there is a woman spraying you, or is it a machine that's spraying you?
I go to places that have both.
Oh.
Yeah.
Got to go full Monty.
Right. Well, no, you do have underwear on, but it's still.
Oh, yeah, I meant that too.
It's still kind of weird.
What
I don't
is
know.
there,
And just so you know, the spray is freezing cold.
Oh, nice.
The tan spray. It's like jumping into the ocean like the Polar Club guys do.
So she stands like a foot away from you? Like how close is she getting to you when she's spraying you all over?
Is it a power spray thing?
Yeah, right. That's a good question. Is it a power spray?
And is there different levels? If they're like, you shouldn't go down to this number. This will kill you. And then you just say, yeah, I want that.
Right. This is Tracy Morgan version.
Right,
you know?
yeah. Well, to answer your question, Noam, she's not that far away from me.
Right.
I would say 5 feet. And there are different levels of darkness.
Yeah, that's what I'm curious.
And I guess you could probably guess that I get the Sammy Davis Jr. level.
Right.
It does look like that.
I get the Idi Amin level.
Just play like Donna Summer, Love to Love You, Baby. And
Yeah.
spraying it up.
Yeah. Like I walk out and I'm darker than 95% of black people in the world today. Yeah.
Cool.
No, I'm serious.
Yeah. Well, you could just go play for the Globetrotters then.
Yeah,
so
well.
that's good.
The Globetrotters were, where the hell were they? They were in some place a couple of weeks ago. Oh, in Rome. Did you see them?
No.
They were actually at the
I lost
Vatican
track.
with the Pope.
I stopped following.
The Pope was spinning the basketball. No, I'm being serious.
The Pope was what?
El Popo, he was spinning the basketball with the Harlem Globetrotters. It's like the day before he eviscerated President Trump, the Pope. He was spinning the basketball with the Harlem Globetrotters.
Is Curly and Meadowlark Lemon still there? Or no?
I think.
Sure. They're still there. Go with that.
I think Keith Osby, was filming it, right?
I think so. That's right. Yeah.
That's what we call the Pope. At center, Pope for the Globetrotters. Keith Osby will tip off.
Peter King is, well, I always say King Giuliani King, and whichever order you want to do it. Since I'm alive and I just turned 59, they're the best politicians I've seen in New York. Pete was a valued congressman for almost 4 decades and Homeland Security, and now he's on this station, and he's really smart, and he's a Met fan. He knows everything about everything. We love Pete King. So, Pete, welcome back. How are you?
I don't know. I've been waiting now on hold for 25 minutes. Remind me of the days when you and Imus and Bernard and Charles would be talking away, and I'd be sitting in Washington waiting for you guys to let me on. So I thought
that's funny.
I thought I was back in the past.
That's funny.
Imus is doing it to me again, you know?
Yeah. How many years, now that you said that, I mean, clearly you and I must have met there. I often forget where I meet people, but like you and Bo, that all started on Imus. And I tell people when I got basically excommunicated and had to work in Florida for the better part of a decade, even more, that you and Bo, you guys came on my shows in Miami. That meant a lot to me getting back here to New York, so I'll always love you for that. But how many years were you on the Imus show?
I say come on, like in the mid-'90s. I think when I was in Congress. I got elected to Congress in '92, and I'd say within the first year or two, I was on with Imus. I'd be on, I don't know, like once or twice a month, I guess. And
wow.
The best part of that was Bernie would call me first. Because, then you couldn't, down in Washington, you couldn't hear what was being said in New York. There was none of this, with the radios. So
right.
Bernie would tell me what Imus was mad about or what he might attack me on and all of that. That was good. He would put into the phone. Then they get on with Imus. He'd start calling me a crook or a thief or something, and we go from there,
Crook or a thief. He was great with that, Bernard. The guy that always tells the same story you just did is Phil Simms. Phil Simms, a great quarterback for the Giants, him and Jim Nantz had recurring roles on Imus, and Phil would call in and he would say, Bernie, what kind of mood is the I-Man in today? And Bernie would say, well, take a guess, Phil. What do you think, Phil? And he's like, oh, my God, with his Kentucky drawl, But it was all part of the fun. And, I still say to everybody that cares that nobody had a bigger influence on my career and what I do than Imus. So talking to his kid was real cool. And Wyatt is now 27 years old, and he's making a great living, and he's about to get married, and Deirdre's doing terrific, too. So that's all good stuff. I can tell you the Imuses are doing much better right now than I think we are in Iran. It depends who you talk to. But, I speak to people on the inside. I've got some people in and around Trump who love Trump like I do. They love him. And they're very frustrated. They're like, what are we doing here? What's going on? What is the end game? What is the finish? Why do we keep stopping with these ceasefires and these extensions? Why don't we just finish the job? And I'm hearing more and more of that, Peter, from people that are around the president a lot.
I'm not saying this to be critical because I supported going into Iran. I still do. But I think the president, a mistake he may have made early on was somehow thinking this is going to be a quick war. It's going to be over in a few days. It's going to be an unconditional surrender. And you have to condition the American people to say, listen, we are doing this because we don't want you or your children or grandchildren blown apart by nuclear weapons. And sometime this war has to be fought. We're doing it now, but it's not going to be easy. So if you have to pay an extra $1.50 for gas for a few months to save lives later on, we have to do it. Now, that wasn't done. It was sort of implied the war would be over in a few weeks. So now the American people are not on his side with the war. I mean, to be this early in the war and have 55, 60% of the people against it, it's dangerous to be in, and Iran knows that. They also say the way the media is piling on the president, and they just feel they can wait him out. And also, this is not a real estate deal. You're Witkoff over there negotiating, but you're up against ideologues. These guys, this is not like Russia or China or even North Korea where those leaders want to live. These guys don't care if they die. This is totally different from really any other war we've been in. So it's not like you can, devastate their infrastructure, where you can knock out their leadership, and somehow they're going to surrender or they're going to make a deal. A deal even implies that these guys are rational. They're not. So this, to me, is a long haul, and I don't think we can do that now with the long haul. I think Iran feels they can wait us out. They can take an almost infinite amount of punishment. So we have to get the Straits open. We have to get something on the nuclear weapons, or the enrichment of the uranium, and try and go for it. It's not going to be easy now, but we can't. This is not a game that Donald Trump is playing. He's doing the right thing by being there, but we have to. I think he's going to have to somehow, limit the goals right now, and it has to come out ahead. But it's not going to be the victory that I think we could have had.
No, because, he's wiped out a whole bunch of leaders there, him and Israel, no question about it. Nice joint effort by Trump and Bibi. But they still have IRGC leadership. So what good is it? Yeah, they killed a lot of people. We did. We killed a lot of people. We killed a lot. And we blew up a lot of stuff. And we certainly hurt their nuclear weapons making going forward. There's no question, even dating back to Midnight Hammer back over the summer. But if we leave now with the IRGC still in charge, right, not Khomeini, but the IRGC still in charge, then we're not that far away from Iran being right back where they were a year ago. No?
Not really. I think the weapons have been probably knocked back at least 5 to 10 years. I would think. I mean, I'm not there anymore.
Well, I got to tell you, I saw a report from NBC last night that said that Pete Hegseth is basically lying, that Iran still has a arsenal, a huge amount of weapons. That's what NBC said last night. And I keep seeing these crazy stories about Russian submarines arriving in Iran with more weaponry. I don't know if any of that is true, but NBC did report last night that according to a very, very solid Pentagon source, that Iran's weaponry is still very high, not nearly the percentage that the administration is trying to sell us that is now gone.
Well, I have a lot of faith in General Kane, and he gives much better numbers than that. If I had to choose between General Kane and NBC, I would go with General Kane. Also, I'm sure there's people in the Pentagon who hate Pete Hegseth, who dislike President Trump, and I can see them leaking on stuff to NBC. You can play with numbers any way you want, But I would think, again, I have a lot of faith in General Kane. Whether the numbers are that good or not, I don't know, but it's certainly much better than when this war started.
I had our mutual friend Anthony D'Esposito, Peter, on this show a couple of days ago, and you were the first on this show to say he's not running again, and you're right. You know your stuff. He has decided to stay as President Trump's Inspector General for the Labor Department. He's doing a tremendous job, Anthony, uncovering billions of dollars like Lee Zeldin is doing at the EPA. Maybe that's why Lee stays there and Harmeet Dillon replaces Todd Blanche. I don't know. But Anthony did admit on this show publicly a couple of days ago he is not going to run for Congress again. So it's great news for Anthony that he's doing so well and Trump still wants him. But I'm not sure it's great news for Congress that Laura Gillen looks like may have another win. Although you like this lady Driscoll, she'll be taking on Gillen next time around, yes?
Yeah, Janine Driscoll's going to be a great candidate. Listen, always wanted Anthony to run. He couldn't do it. But Janine Driscoll is a first-rate candidate. She's been in an elective office in Nassau County for a number of years. She's a Fordham Law School graduate. She's active in the community. She handles herself very well. She's very articulate. She's smart. And she's going to give Laura Gillen more than a run for money. She's going to take her out. I mean, Janine is ready to go. I've been with her the last few days. Joe Cairo had a massive event last night at the Garden City Hotel. She gave a great speech. She really roused the crowd. So, no, Janine is going to do a terrific job in the campaign. People have to get behind her, and they have to realize that, first of all, even under the worst of circumstances, this is a 5 or 6 point race. You put a good Republican candidate. We have a great Republican candidate in there. She's going to win, but we got to get behind her. We can't have some Republican somewhere finding something she said 8 years ago they may disagree with or not. We have to get together as a party and stand with her. Anthony, I know, is strongly for her. Joe Cairo is strongly for her. Bruce Blakeman was with her last night. Bruce and I were with Janine sitting at the table with her. Now, she's going to do a great campaign. And we have Michael Petru, we have Nicola Loda. I mean, Long Island has good members of Congress running. And but we have to get rid of this defeatist attitude, and we got to get out front arguing why it's been such a great achievement by the president and with the Republican Congress, and just get their act together.
Yeah, tell Driscoll to I'll put her on, so I'll help her try to win this race. You mentioned LePetri. He's running against Tom Suozzi again. I like Mike a lot. He's been in the studio a couple times, this campaign and the last one. He'll be back. So Lolita, Garbarino, are they all running again?
Oh, yeah, Garbarino's definitely running. Yeah, Mike Andrew is the chairman of the Homeland Security Committee, vitally important to New York and Long Island. Lolita is running, and again, Michael Petri is running. The last time around, I mean, actually very little attention was focused on his race. All of our attention was on Anthony. And Mike came within like 2 points of winning. So now he's been getting geared up for this now for the last 6 to 8 months. The party is totally behind him. He's running strong. So that's a real strong possibility for us, maybe a probability. And Janine, she's getting in the race late, but still, I mean, in the first year that I ran, I didn't get into July because we had a whole reapportionment fight going on in New York, and the districts weren't drawn. And I ended up winning. So no, she not only can do it, she's going to do it. And she's a tough fighter, strong woman, a very gifted attorney, very popular local elected official. So no, she's going to do it. But again, people have to get behind her.
And is Mazi Pilip running for anything this time around?
Yes, actually, she's running for re-election to the county legislature. She was elected along with the other legislators last year for a 2-year term. But the Democrats in Albany, they changed it from 2 year to 1 year because they figured that in the gubernatorial year, they had a better chance of picking up those local seats. So Mazi has to run again. She'll do well. I've always said we had never won in the Great Neck area since the War of 1812. Mazi won, and she wins big every year. And the first time she ran, by the way, she had delivered twins 2 weeks before, 3 weeks before, and she was out campaigning at the train station on election morning.
Wow. No, she's amazing. I love Mazi. I wish I was stronger. I always say this first time she ran against Suozzi, but I've grown to love that woman. You were right about that, Pete. All right, Pete, we got to end it with this. 12 straight losses. Again, for me, it's not about the wins and losses. I've rooted for horrible Met teams that were managed by Joe Torre, teams from way back when that would lose 100 games. So it's not about wins and losses. But when you combine the fact that I hate the politics and they're too woke for me and they can't win, the Mets are a very difficult product to love these days, no?
Yeah, listen, I've been with the Mets since day one. I remember in the first year when they lost 120 games, so they were that was tough. You're sitting up in the polo grounds watching that. No, listen, they have a not a good team, and I really blame Stearns for that. I mean, he traded away, he gutted the heart and soul of the Mets, got rid of guys like Alonso, Nimmo, McNeil. They let Diaz go. And so there's no core of the team. And Soto, even though he had a good numbers year last year, he was not really the soul of that team. Lindor is up and down. Again, they're good players. But other than that, the guys who really kept the team going, well, especially Lindor and Nimmo. McNeil maybe slowed down a bit, but the other two are really going strong. So anyway, that was it. And there was no real need for it. It seemed like Stearns wanted to somehow create a team in his image. And maybe he has, unfortunately. And it's not doing well. I know you've gone over to the Yankees. I understand where you're coming from. But to me, they have to give some reason why they really let those good players go, and it looks bad. It really does. Yeah. So I'm not going to leave the Mets, but I have a hard time, really for the first time in 64 years, have a hard time getting excited. I really, even now, I watch the game for a few innings. Sometimes I don't watch it, and I don't know. Maybe I'll even go to watch a Yankee game every now and then. I don't know.
You don't care. I know. I got to get Steve Cohen on and maybe answer some of those valid questions, Peter King, that you're raising and every Met fan is raising. Maybe Cohen will stop by and give us some answers. At any rate, as always, you've got all the answers. You're great. Another fantastic appearance. And your friend Bruce Blakeman is coming up next. So Nassau County owns this hour. Peter King, thank you so much.
But Governor Blakeman, he's the man. You got it. Okay, Sid.
All right, buddy. Bye. Love you. I love you. Bye. Thank you. Yeah, Governor Blakeman. You know, talking about the Yankees, too. You guys remember last year when Vinny Viola, my dear friend Vinny Viola, Mr. Virtue, owns the Florida Panthers, and they've won the last 2 Stanley Cups. They're not going to three-peat because they didn't make the playoffs this year. But nevertheless, Vinny has built a powerhouse hockey club down in Florida. And you may remember last year when Vinny actually had one night, Dyspraxia DCD America night in Sunrise. The Panthers that night, I think, played the Seattle Kraken. And I was there. Danielle was there. Gabriel's old teacher, Mrs. Rosenberg, believe it or not, from the JCC in Boca. It was a great crowd, and I'm not going to tell you how much, but the Panthers were very generous. And our organization, DyspraxiaDCDamerica.org, did well that night. So when, Justin, you were with me last week at the Yankee game.
Yep.
And I went up to my my new BFF.
Your dear friend, yep.
Randy Levine, the president of the Yanks. And I said, listen, Vinny did this. Oh, no. Now we got to do it. He said you could have my suite and, you'll pick a game and you could have the suite. We'll invite some old Yankee players back. The Yankees will present you with a check, like the Florida Panthers did. And you can have Dyspraxia DCD America night at Yankee Stadium.
That's going to be great.
And Steve Cohen has not offered me that. Steve Cohen won't even call me.
It doesn't matter. You want Yankee Stadium over Citi Field.
No, of course. Not even close.
All right.
Not even close. And we actually discussed dates yesterday. Wow. Me and Stephanie, Randy Levine's assistant.
That'll be fantastic. I can't wait for that.
I think it's going to be in August.
Okay.
But I will hopefully have confirmation today on the series, the game, the day. And the Yankees coming up big for Gabriel Rosenberg and people who have been diagnosed with dyspraxia all over the world. That's the Yanks for you. Totally. We'll take a short break. We'll come back. We are going to talk to the next governor here in New York, the great Bruce Blakeman. Lots more to do before I hand the football off to Brian Kilmeade in about 40 minutes. The Wednesday edition of Sid and Friends in the Morning rolls on.
Sid and Friends in the Morning on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Another great song right here, Tempted by Squeeze, and this goes back to, is it Paul Carrick Lewis, who's celebrating a birthday today?
You got it. He's the guy singing right now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's the first singing.
Oh, my God, he's great. Also, we played Ace earlier, who's in that band. And
Elvis Costello's on this song, too.
No, I know he is. And Mike and the Mechanics?
Yep.
Good call here with Paul Carrick, and Squeeze is one of my favorite groups. So you see, a lot of folks like my new profile picture. It's my new profile picture. I took down me and Trump. I'll put it back up when the Iran war is over. God, I'm tired of that. So it's been me and Trump for a long time. So I took it down, even on my own cell phone. And the picture instead is the picture of me wearing the Yankee jersey, stepping on the face and the body of Mr. Met, with Yankee Stadium as the backdrop. Isn't that a great picture, Justin?
It's really funny.
It's great.
Yeah.
Who the hell sent me that? I forgot.
I did see it.
Was it Corey Zelnick? I forget who, but anyway, I love that picture. And it's now the profile picture on all my social media. And it's funny because I was just saying last segment that in the spirit of Vinny Viola and the Florida Panthers, Randy Levine, love him, and the Yankees are ready, willing, and able to put together a Dyspraxia DCD America Day for my son. And they already got back to me this morning, already, Stephanie, and gave me the 2 dates I wanted. They said you could have either one. So it looks like Saturday, August the 22nd, with the Yankees hosting the Toronto Blue Jays, we'll have our very first ever Dyspraxia DCD America Day at Yankee Stadium. Thank you, Randy and Stephanie and the New York Yankees. That's a beautiful thing you're doing for me, Danielle and Gabriel. Yankees, Blue Jays, and, of course, you're all invited, but the only real Yankee fan on this staff is Justin. So you'll be back, Justin.
Hell yeah.
But, Louis, you'll still come, even though you're a Met fan, right?
Yeah, you certainly will.
Yeah.
You think we'll get to walk on the field?
Probably, yes.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. Take it easy.
Oh, no.
Jeez.
No, maybe not you. I don't know. You sound a little weird. Randy's like anybody but that guy.
I don't know.
Bring a walker for Justin.
I don't know.
Oh, my God. You think I can smell Aaron Judge's jock after the game?
You think I can? That's a
Yeah. I'm going to wear it on my head after the game.
That's a
Aaron
bonus.
Judge's jock.
$500 you got to donate
nice. Yeah.
to get the
And I
job.
just got a text from Joseph Abboud because the Yankees are going to beat the Red Sox again tonight. Sorry, Joseph. But it reminds me that, I didn't talk to Joseph for many years. And Danielle went and ran the Boston Marathon 9 years ago, 4 years after the Boston bombing, which was 13 years ago. And I saw Joe Abboud. I was in the hotel in Boston, sitting at the Red Sox game, which is played 11 o'clock every Monday morning on Patriot Day, sitting on Nesson. He was sitting there in the stands. I'm like, I got to text this guy. And we reconnected about 9 years ago, and now we talk every day. He texts me. He's such a lovely guy. And, I go back. The first ever public event we ever did for Dyspraxia, at the time it was called the Spotlight Foundation, was at Joseph Abboud's old store, his beautiful men's clothing store in Zelnick's building, 49th and Madison. And it was a great night. John Starks and Chaz Palminteri and a whole bunch of famous people showed up, and a whole bunch of friends and family showed up. That was our first ever event for our foundation. So thank you for that, Joseph. We'll take a break. When we get back, he is currently the Nassau County Executive, but I'm telling you, folks, he's going to be the next governor in our great state of New York. My brother, my dear friend, Bruce Blakeman, back on Sid and Friends in the Morning, next.
Sid and Friends in the Morning on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
This poor guy's been on hold forever. It's almost election time. The two-time Nassau County Executive, the current Nassau County Executive, but my enthusiastic choice for governor, and many others, man. Almost every day somebody stops me, says, your boy Bruce going to win? I say, he's going to win. He's going to win. So here he is, Mr. Governor, Bruce Blakeman. Bruce, are you a Met fan or a Yankee fan? And don't tell me both because you're about to be governor and blah, blah, blah. Are you a Met fan or a Yankee fan?
Nah, listen, I've been a Yankee fan my whole life.
Oh, baby.
So, listen, I didn't know that you were friends with Randy Levine. What a great guy that guy is.
He texted me literally 45 seconds ago because I texted him first. I thanked him for he's actually giving us his suite so we could have a charity event, our charity for Gabriel, Dyspraxia DCD America, Saturday, August the 22nd at the stadium. Yankees hosting the Jays. Hopefully you'll be there, Bruce. It'll be a beautiful Saturday afternoon for the Yanks. That's the type of guy Randy is. And, I've been to the stadium 3 or 4 times already this year in his suite, 2 or 3 times. He is. He's just a lovely. Everybody loves Randy Levine in this town. Everybody, right?
Everybody does. First of all, Gabriel looks great. I saw him
Thank you.
with you and Danielle the other night. He looks terrific. But let me say this about Randy Levine. He's a great New Yorker. What he's done with the Yankees is remarkable. But what he does for charity and what he does for public service. He was appointed by President Trump to this commission that's looking to straighten out the chaos in college sports.
Yep.
And if anybody can figure it out, Randy can, because The NIL's out of control. The transfer portal's out of control. They got to do something, or they'll destroy college sports, Sid.
I actually started reaching out to Randy because of that, because I watched that day. I'm an avid sports guy like you, and I see President Trump and Mike Johnson and Marco Rubio. Then I see Tiger Woods, Urban Meyer, Nick Saban, and oh, my God, there's Randy Levine. Now, what you just did, I know it's not the most important thing, okay? But I'm being serious about this. This goes to show you how smart, diverse, sharp, New York, everything about you. What you just did, NIL, college, Trump, the White House, Kathy Hochul couldn't do that in a million years. Now, I know she likes football. I know it. I get it. She has fantasies about Josh Allen, the Buffalo Bills quarterback. I'm sick of hearing that, too. Okay, enough of that. But when you look at Bruce Blakeman, the all-around guy, he's a boxer, loves his New York teams, big Yankee fan, big, strong guy, saving Nassau County, making it the safest county anywhere in America. Family involved in politics for a long time. Your brother, very impressive guy too. When I look at the tail of the tape, like before a big boxing match between Hochul and Blakeman, I'm going to say this, Bruce. People are going to say you just love Bruce. Maybe that's true. It's not even close. You kill her.
Well, this is the most unaffordable state in the United States. Our electric bills are out of control. Our taxes are out of control. It's just not a place where businesses want to create new jobs. So that changes on January 1 when I become governor. I'm going to cut taxes. I'm going to cut utility costs in half. But that's not what I wanted to talk to you about today, Sid, because today, while we're on the subject of sports, I am announcing for my 5th time as county executive the opening of the games for the Physically Challenged. We sponsor that in Nassau County for the whole metropolitan area, the whole state of New York, New Jersey, Connecticut. It's like a mini Olympics for everybody that has a disability. And, that's something that makes my job worthwhile, to see these kids compete. It's pure athletics. They're great athletes. So, I know that's something that you love, and that's something that we're doing this morning. And I urge everybody, if you want to put a smile on your face, if you want to feel good about yourself, go out to the games for the Physically Challenged. I'll get you all the information on it, Sid, but it's something that really puts a smile on my face, and I'm so happy to be doing it for the 5th time.
Wow, that is awesome. I love that stuff, Special Olympics. And, when I go watch Danielle run a marathon, for example, and I see people that don't have legs, and they're able to complete the 26-plus mile race. And I don't know exactly what type of disabilities or ailments or physical limitations these brave people have that are about to compete in Nassau County. But anybody who watches that stuff, if you don't shed a tear, you're not human. It's just beautiful.
Yeah, it's all of the above. We have everything, any kind of disability, and these kids compete. It's their day to shine. So that's a great thing that we're doing here. And again, it's not only just in Nassau County. We have athletes from Connecticut, New Jersey, all over New York State, and that's one of the things that makes it worthwhile to get up every morning and go do your job.
And it's a one-day event, Bruce? Is it? Give me the whole rundown.
It's a 2-day event. They bus the kids in. They're put up in dormitories and hotels, and they compete as if it was the Olympics. I'm going to get you all the information on it, Sid, but it's a great thing. But getting back to Kathy Hochul, she wants to raise taxes on rich people again. Sid, when you raise taxes on rich people, they have choices. They're going to buy a second home in Scottsdale, Arizona, Miami, Florida, Boca Raton, Charleston, South Carolina. They're not going to stick around here. Kathy Hochul's going to sock it to them. And that's going to hurt our little local businesses, our dry cleaners, our restaurants, our pharmacies, the coffee shop. It's going to hurt plumbers and carpenters. It's really a bad idea. And it's just more spend, tax. Make it less affordable for people to live in this state.
And you made the point a lot lately, and you're right about it, that she is more in tune with Mamdani than she sometimes wants us to believe. She is. She's lockstep. So if she wins, if God forbid she wins, she won't, but if God forbid she wins, and you think Mamdani has power and is bad now, the two of them will absolutely speed up the destruction of this city and this state. There's no doubt in my mind.
Zohran Mamdani is running the Democratic Party now. He's running the state of New York, along with AOC and Kathy Hochul, Comrade Kathy, who is a person that is so scared of Mamdani that she will do anything to please him. And she's demonstrated that time and time again. This guy wants to open up city grocery stores. He wants to take 4 years to open 5 grocery stores. John Catsimatidis could open 5 grocery stores in 3 months for probably 1/5 the price. He wants to spend $30 million on city grocery stores, and Kathy just sits there, nods her head, grins, as if this was a great idea. It's a terrible idea.
Terrible. Well, first of all, it's $30 million just for one. So he said initially, this liar, that it was going to cost $70 million, which is an average of $14 million apiece to build one in every borough. As it turns out, only one is $30 million. Multiply that by 5. Now you're spending $150, which is more than twice of the $70 million. Plus, he's already said a lot of the products inside those stores will be very expensive. So it's a complete mess. None of it makes sense. None of it makes any sense. So right now, you're in great position. People say to me, they go, let me ask you something. I love Bruce. He's the right guy. Again, he's strong. He's got a great track record. He wins in Nassau County. There are more Democrats than Republicans in Nassau County. Not only does Bruce Blakeman win, he wins by a good amount. So clearly, Democrats and independents in Nassau County like the work that you do. But I guess what they bring up is, does Bruce spend a lot of time in Syracuse, in Rochester, in Albany, in Utica, in Binghamton, and all those, even Monticello by my mom, all those places that are dying between no jobs and drugs? I say yes. You're there all the time, yes?
I was in Schoharie County last week, Schuyler County. The week before that, Columbia County, Broome County, Albany County, Columbia County, you name it. I've been there. I'm going up to Plattsburgh in the North Country by the Canadian border this weekend. We are getting around my Lieutenant Governor candidate, Todd Hood, who's the sheriff of Madison County. He's a police hero, great guy. He's traveling all around the state with me. We're going together. Plus, we break up. We hit different areas, so we cover twice as much territory. Believe me, everywhere I go, people are miserable with Kathy Hochul, and they want to change. They want a more affordable state. They want a safer state where we respect the blue. You know, Sid, I was thinking the other day after this whole thing with Sergeant Duran, that, you know, you're more likely to go to prison as a cop in New York than you are as a criminal, because Kathy Hochul with cashless bail and raise the age and the HALT Act, she's soft on criminals, but they are intensely hard, and I believe unfairly hard, on our cops in this state.
No doubt, and that goes back to Cuomo, too. Let me remind people, they paroled about 50 cop killers. Okay, forgetting about the guy screwing over Stephanie Diller and not getting Guy Rivera on murder one. Forget about this idiot guy Mitchell sentencing Eric Durant to 3 to 9 years. You got about 50 cop killers that are walking free in this state. So between Cuomo and Hochul, we've been in trouble for a long time. That's why I keep saying this. I mean this, Bruce. The only way this state and city survive is if you win. I cannot emphasize that enough. And let me remind folks, Bruce Blakeman on this show said last week first that when he wins, not if, when he wins, he will pardon Eric Duran. Let me remind folks, too, that these 2 amazing days that are coming up in Nassau County, that'll be Friday, May the 29th, and Saturday, May the 30th, at the Mitchell Athletic Complex at Nassau Community College. Athletes will compete in track and field, swimming, wheelchair basketball, and more. So it's Friday, May 29th, and Saturday, May the 30th, at Nassau County Community College. As always, Bruce Blakeman, you're a mensch, and you're going to win I'm going to make sure of that. Thank you so much.
And when I do win, I'm going to swear you in as mayor when you win the election against Mamdani for mayor.
Listen, if you win, excuse me, again, I did the same thing. When you win, and I know Danielle's going to kill me for saying this, but she's going to have to get over it. When you win, I'm going to run, okay?
I love it.
I love you.
It. God bless
you. You too, Bruce.
You're the kind of strong leader we need. Thank you, Sid.
Bruce, you're the absolute best. Thank you so much. We all love you. Next governor of New York right there, the current Nassau County executive, my dear friend, Bruce Blakeman. Folks, he's the only hope we've got. Trust me, I'm not being overly dramatic. I'm not exaggerating. You want to save this city and save this state, you go vote for Bruce Blakeman and pray to Hashem or Jesus, any God you've got, that Bruce Blakeman is our next governor. We're done. Lou Rufino, as always. Amazing job today. Justin Ellick, Noam Layden, Dorada Bellish. God willing, as Gene says, we'll all be back for a big Thursday show tomorrow morning at 6. Until then, from all of us on Sid and Friends in the morning, including Wyatt, just texted me to all of you. Peace!
Thanks for listening to Sid and Friends in the Morning. You can hear Sid and Friends in the Morning weekday mornings at 6. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?